I'm going to call this this 2025 annual town meeting of the town of Brookfield to order. I have received a certified warrant that was delivered. You can't hear in the back. Jacob, what do I got to do? Crank it up. Like, lift it up, crank it up. I don't want to touch any of these buttons, you know what I'm saying? Bob. Test, 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 test.
Bob?
Peter, can you hear me? No, he can't hear me. Test, test, louder. Test, 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 test. We good? Can you guys hear me back over there? My neighbor's over there, I can see him. Hello, how you doing? All right, so we're good. Everybody can hear okay? Excellent. The meeting has now been called to order. I would like to ask veteran Gary Lincoln to come forward and to lead us in the pledge. Please stand.
Please join me in saying the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What I like to start with, as I normally start with, is I just want to read the rules, okay, so that we all understand how things are going. The temperature is hot outside and it's hot in here, and if it gets hotter because of debate, we want to make sure that we keep it kind of under control. So we are governed by the bylaws of Brookfield, Massachusetts, and Mass General Law, Chapter 39, Section 14. So there are limits to debate. Each member who wishes to speak on a motion has no more than 2 minutes. Each member can speak 2 times on any given motion, but may not speak a second time on any motion until everyone else wishing to speak on a given side has spoken. Time limits are overall. If you ask a question, the answer comes from your time. So if you're at the microphone and you ask a question of anybody up here, and your time limits and your 2 minutes ends, you are done. Rude, disrespectful speech will not be tolerated. Also, remarks attacking the character of an individual, including statements that someone has an agenda or ulterior motives, will be called out of order. We have a officer here. Where is the officer? He's probably down behind the podium, and I can't see him, but all of you can see him, and Chief Blanchard's over there too. So if you're out of order and it gets to that level, they will remove you. So I just want to be sure that you're aware of that. Applauding, cheering, booing, or other expressions of approval or disapproval are not permitted. All debate or questions are directed to me, the moderator. The previous question or the motion to close debate, once made and adopted, ends debate. If there are people waiting at the microphone, but somebody is at the microphone and makes that motion and it is adopted, debate is over and we're going to vote. We are here to make decisions about town of Brookfield. Decisions are made by making motions, debating, and voting. No one should speak unless they are engaged in one of those three things. Questions are fine, but questions really need to be, before you come with a question, you need to be thinking, do I want to change this number? Do I want to change what this article or this motion is saying? Okay? You're free to ask questions, but it should be with the mind that I may want to change this motion because I don't like some things in it. Okay? All right. You should look to address the town meeting either in support or in opposition of a motion. You can certainly ask questions during debate, but please keep the questions and debate focused on the motion in hand. If someone has stolen your thunder and made the point that you wanted to make, please refrain from repeating. If a point has been made, I may ask you to either bring a new point or to stop. If you think I'm doing something wrong, which does happen, believe it or not, you can ask my wife, she's right over there. You need to raise a point of order or just stand up and say, Mr. Moderator, I think you got this wrong. Okay? And we'll address that. Okay? Finally, in the past, we've come across an article where no motion is made. We have used a so-called motion to pass over. No such motion exists. Furthermore, there is no reason for town meeting to take any action when there is no motion. Therefore, if you have a warrant article that you've decided to withdraw or I will just move to the next article, okay? So we can just move things right along. When it comes to the budget, we're not going to read through line by line and look for holes. I'm simply going to go through it page by page. We'll do it slowly. If there's anything on a particular page that you would like to address, either change a number or debate it, just let me know and we'll deal with it right then and there, okay? All right, so now it comes time for these things. Does everybody have a clicker? If you do not have one of these things, you will not be able to vote. Okay? So right now, I want you to start getting comfortable with these things. Okay? So, no, we're not going to do the test question yet. But this is what the screen's going to look like. I got a little monitor right here that's supposed to tell me what's up there. So what I want you to do is just start pressing yes and no. Okay? And look at the screen. Okay? You should be seeing an A and a B pop up when you press yes for A, or A for yes and B for no. Okay? If that's not happening, nothing's going to be happening here because I haven't opened the polls. I'll explain this in a minute. But I just want you to look at that. If those letters are not coming up on your clicker does not work. You need to go back to the clerk's desk and get a new one. So it looks like everybody's okie dokie with the clickers. All right. All registered voters. Oh, I guess I got a few things. So what's that? Okay, good. All registered voters should be seated in the middle area or over here. Non-residents should be sitting over here. So if you're over in this area and you're a non-resident, please move over to that area. Although this is getting a little bit, because we've got the clickers, it kind of doesn't matter. But anyway, so these clickers, obviously you can look at them. If you want to vote yes, you click yes, the green button. If you want to vote no, you click the red button, okay? These keypads will fall asleep to save on battery power. They're easily woken up without a question.
Why are non-residents here?
That's permitted. Yeah, absolutely. It's perfectly fine. Where was I? Okay, so they fall asleep to wake them up. You woke them up when you started pressing the buttons just now. All you got to do is press a button, and it'll wake up for you. Okay. All right. So let's see. Any of these buttons polling system. Okay. So if you press these buttons, the reason why you're getting an A and a B is the polling system is closed. Okay. So you can't vote when the polling system is closed. I'm going to get back in my script here because I'm going to lose track of stuff and I'm going to forget to say things. So if you press either of these buttons when the polling system is closed, you will see some form of a letter, A or B. If you do not see a letter, press a second time and you should see the letter. Please try that now. We've already done that. If you do not see a letter, please take your keypad back and replace it. No vote will register unless the poll is open. The polls open when I open them. So, when it comes time to vote, I will say the poll is open. When I say the poll is open, that means you can vote and you click yes or no. We're going to practice this, okay? So when I open the polls, I will say open the polls and I will leave them open for some period of time, 10 seconds or so, enough time where I think, everybody's had an opportunity to vote. Then I will say, if you have not, or something akin to this, if you have not voted and wish to, please vote now. as I am about to close the polls. So that's your warning. If you're undecided, you gotta vote. And shortly after that, there will be a pause, and then I will say the poll is now closed. We have Ken Heyman, who's over here. Hammond, how do you pronounce your name?
Kevin
Hannon is over here running the system for us, and so he's going to be opening and closing. He's going to go off of my trigger to open and close the polls. When I close the poll, the tally will show up here on the screen and will indicate whether the motion passed or failed. Everything will go green if it passes, and it'll go red if it fails. Okay. So when the poll is open and you press your button of choice, you will know your vote has been received when the letters OK show up on the number. Okay? So if you vote yes, the number 1 will show up, and when the vote is accepted by the receiver, you'll see a little OK will pop up on the screen. We're going to practice this, so I'm just explaining this before we get there. All right. So, okay, to keep that easy, okay. You can change your vote as long as the poll is open. All right, so as long as the poll is open, you can change your vote as many times as you want. As soon as the poll is closed, however, you may no longer change your vote, obviously, okay? Let's see. When we are considering or debating an article, you will see a screen similar to this one, and I will read the question. In this case, and I'm going to be reading all of this stuff, by the way, too. So even if you can't see this screen, I'm going to be reading it like I would normally do. Okay, so in this case, it is moved that the town color be red. That's what it should say. It says test question 1, is the town color red? At this point, we are not voting, but merely debating the question. But when I say the poll is open, please vote, that's when you vote. So, you ready to give it a try? All right, so the question before us is should the town color be red? The polls are now open. You may now vote. You can see the number going up. And I'm going to leave the poll open for a little bit here. I want you to change your votes. Just go back and forth. You should see the OK thing. Just play with this thing and get comfortable with it, because you're going to be using it all night long. Okay, this is how you're going to vote. Okay, it's the most important thing you're doing here, aside from perhaps debating and things like that. All right, so we got 96 people that have voted. If you haven't voted already, there's a question.
Does this ensure that people only vote one time?
Yeah, you can only vote one time. Yeah, it'll only receive it once. Each clicker, look on the back, it has a number. Mine's 331, and others ought to be anywhere from 1 to 100 or maybe 150. I don't know, but they're individual, and there's no one else can do it. My guy from Meridian tells me that these things are secure. So we're in good shape. Okay. So if the guy running the show is concerned about security, I'm thinking we're in good shape. Okay. All right. So the polls are still open. Now we got 98 up there. If you haven't voted already, please do so, because I am about to close the polls. The poll is now closed, and the answer is the motion fails. 28 to 70 no. So nobody. So by a majority, the town rejected the color red for its town color, and that's the way this is going to work all night long. Okay, is everybody good with that? Hopefully you are, because if you're not, you might as well go home. All right. Is there anything else that I have missed? Oh, one final thing. Kevin here told me that these things are not able to work garage doors, the TV, or any other thing. So we really would appreciate it at the end of the meeting that you drop this in the box that's down in the back on the table where you checked in. Okay, please try not to forget to drop that in the box. I've heard somebody tell me that they actually could do it, so I'm not really too sure whether or not it can be, but please return them to us at the end of the meeting. Okay, so now we're all done with all of that stuff. We're now pretty much ready to go. There's the first motion that we're going to have before us doesn't have any article. Oh, they have some questions. Please come to the microphone.
Don Taft, 20 Lane 21. Would you again reiterate what verbiage you would like if you want to pass over an article?
None. I want you to be quiet. Don't make a motion. Does that answer your question? Hang on one second.
Is there no way to pass over an article?
There's no motion to pass over. There's no such motion. It just isn't. Mr. Holcraft.
Dave Holcraft, Allen Road. What's your policy tonight on if there's a line of people that would like to speak and someone makes the motion to pass over it, are you going to allow those people to have their say?
Oh, wait a second. You mean makes the motion to close debate or,
Correct.
moves the previous
Right, and
question?
you got three people waiting to speak. Are you going to allow them to speak?
As I explained earlier, no. If the motion, well, let me put it this way. If somebody is at the microphone and there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 people behind that person, and that person makes a motion for the previous question, and the previous question is adopted by a 2/3 vote, then that will close debate, and there will be no more, and we will then vote. Any other questions before we get underway here? Again, interrupt me at any time if you have questions or what have you, okay? All right, so the first thing that I want to do is there are some people in the room that are non-residents that are going to need to address, perhaps need to address town meeting. So we need a motion to permit the town manager, I'm just going to start rattling these things off, town manager, town council, the accountant, is the highway superintendent here? Okay, the highway superintendent, Jacob Gorham, who's the tech guy back there. Thank you, Jacob, for setting a lot of this stuff up, the microphones and everything else. Chief Blanchard is over here. The administrative assistant, Karen Trainer, Kevin, our Meridia guy, may have to address us, and then we have the library director who's right over here. Okay? Is there anybody else who's not a town resident? What's that?
Water superintendent.
The water superintendent. Okay.
The superintendent.
Oh, no, the superintendent has the ability to speak already.
Water Department.
The water department? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. The water department. Yeah.
We have a town administrator, not a town manager.
Town administrator. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Thank you. All right. So, can we get the question up on the motion to permit non-residents to speak? That's it. And I just listed them.
Mr. Moderator,
Where? There we are. Thank you.
motion for the...
Oh, I need a motion.
Yeah, motion for the non-residents as indicated in your delineation of those present.
Is there a motion to allow these things? The motion has been made. Is there a second to the motion to allow these people to speak? There's a second. Okay, so here's our first vote. The polls, get ready to vote. Get your clicker out. The polls are now open. You may vote. If you haven't voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. Oh, yes.
Mr. Moderator, can you remind the people at the table to turn their mics on when they speak?
I think you just did. And I've allowed some people to speak from their seats. I really need you to come to the microphone, but thank you very much. It's fine with a point like that, okay? But, all right, so we have 96 people who voted so far. I'm about to close the polls, so if you haven't voted so far, please do so. The polls are now closed. And the motion is adopted 83 to 14. All those people can address town meeting. Okay, now we are now underway. So, hang on, let me turn my pages here. Okay, Article 1.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town... It's on.
All right, go.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to accept the annual report of the town officials as printed.
A motion has been made that the town vote to accept the annual report of the town officials as printed. Everybody hear that? Well, did you hear it from me? Okay, if you hear it from me, you're good, okay? That's all you need to do. So is there a second? I heard a second. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit slow at this because this is like the second time I'm doing it, so my apologies. We will get better at this as we move along. Okay, so is there any debate on the motion to vote to accept the annual report of town officials as printed? There is.
Steve Garman, 44 Town Farm Road. Are you referring to this book here?
I am. I think that's it, right? That is it, right? Yep.
On page 81 and 82, the annual town election results report is missing the numbers for the number of votes for the various candidates and elected officials. So I'd recommend that gets fixed.
It's too late. We've already done it.
Whoa. So I would just appreciate you get to the microphone and, okay, so, would you like to make a motion to do something?
I would like to make a motion to correct pages 81 and 82 to reflect the election results and the tabulation of the
Can you provide those to us right now?
I cannot provide them right now.
I'm going to call the motion out of order.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion on adoption of the annual town report? All right, get your clickers out. The polls are now open. You may vote. If you haven't voted already, please do so, as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted 66 to 32. We are now going to Article number 2.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town rescind the vote taken in November 1999 to adopt the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5F, establishing the ambulance receipts reserve account and transfer the balance of the fund 100 ambulance RRAP to capital stabilization.
A motion has been made that the town rescind the vote taken in November 1999 to adopt Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5F, establishing the ambulance receipts reserve account, and further transfer the balance of the fund 100 ambulance RRAP to capital stabilization. Is there a second to the motion? I heard a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Somebody want to get up and explain what this article is about so that general people here will know what it's all about?
Town council.
Through you, Mr. Moderator, Lori Barkus, Town Accountant. I had proposed this article. Currently, the ambulance is voted every year as a town meeting article They have what's called a receipt reserved account, which means that all the revenue that they collect throughout the year is put into a separate fund, which then at town meeting, they vote for their expenses and their wages out of. And then whatever excess is accumulated in the fund is saved in the fund for potential ambulance purchase or capital purchases along the way. All of their funds have to be voted at town meeting. What I have proposed is that we reverse the article that was voted in 1999 and we bring the ambulance into the general fund with all the other departments. This allows the town to have additional local receipts, which helps the tax levy, and we would put the current balance of $500,000 into capital stabilization. We had planned on doing an ambulance stabilization, however, the warrant was already closed when we made this decision.
Does that address your question?
Donald Fleur, chief of the ambulance. I'm against this because the money that is in here helps keep us get new heart defibrillator, heart cardiac monitors, and new ambulance. A new ambulance that, if we bought it today, would be $480,000 just for the ambulance. So there doesn't leave a lot. Once we take out our salary and wages for this coming year, it leaves $257,000. But we've got to, that gives us money for the further years, it gives us money for to buy an ambulance and not have to go to the town and ask for tax raise for it. We get our money from ambulance receipts from insurance companies. People donate money, and I think that the money should keep supplying us with the same thing that we're paying for.
Hold on one second. You still have 45 seconds if you want to go on.
I can answer your question.
So the donations that you referred to are in a separate account outside of the receipt reserved account, which are not going to be touched. That will stay as an ambulance donation account.
Yeah.
And then the additional revenue that comes in every year would just be put into an ambulance revenue account, which would be funneled through the general fund.
If we have a new ambulance, have to buy a new ambulance in an accident or something, we have to have the money in a fund. We haven't got near enough money now, maybe half. And who knows, in another 4 or 5 years, when we do need a new ambulance, we won't have enough money if it all goes into the account.
It makes sure that the ambulance does have money, because we've gone to meetings before and put money in different things and then it's pulled out. But so there's no guarantee that it's going to be there when we need an ambulance, if there's an accident, if it breaks down, if it's old.
Nope, so like I had told you at the select board meeting when we discussed the stabilization account, we're gonna move the full 500-ish.
I just want to, you're talking to me, not to.
Yep.
Thank you.
So through you, Mr. Moderator, as I had explained to Donna at the select board meeting when this was discussed about a month ago, we're gonna move the balance that's in the receipt reserved account at the end of this year, which currently sits at $508,000. We're going to move it at the end of June. We'll move the full amount to capital stabilization, and then at the next town meeting, we're going to establish an ambulance stabilization and move the exact same amount that we put to capital. Both times of establishing and moving funds have to take a town meeting vote. We can't establish one tonight because it's not a warrant article.
So that would be next year.
Or a special.
Okay.
So at this point, I'll give you a few more moments, but you know.
To me, it doesn't make a difference whether the money sits in our account with the town, all money goes to the town, or sits in the general fund where it can be taken away.
Okay. All right, so your time is up. You have another opportunity to speak, so if you're sitting there and you kind of collect and you have some more arguments, you got another shot at it, okay? So please, think about that.
I had my hand up before the line.
Well, I didn't see it. I'm gonna recognize him, just he did claim, and I just didn't see it right away, but I'll let the selectman make a statement.
So I'm going to say over the last couple months, the town accountant has talked about this with the town administrator and the select board. We voted unanimously to do this. It's more...
Pull the microphone, can you pull it closer?
It's more about accounting than anything else. We supported this as a group. This accountant has brought us forward and kept us getting our books in order to where we could get a loan. I'm willing to go with her recommendation. The select board voted unanimously. It's not going to take any money away from the ambulance at any given time. The money's going to be put in a special line item for the ambulance. There's not a person in this town that wants to take that money away from the ambulance. We've all been supportive to the ambulance and the crew. They've done a great job. This is just an accounting change, and it's not going to affect how we support our ambulance or the people that work there, because they've all done a great service to the town. I'm done.
Tom Regan, 6 Mockingbird Lane.
Get right up to that
Excuse me.
microphone. And
It's blasting me from over there, so I got to find the right balance. Through you, Mr. Moderator, this is the rare time where I find myself in disagreement with Ms. Bartkus. As Mr. Chafee said, she's done a lot for the town, but I don't like this. I intend to vote against it. If Mr. Chafee's statement's correct that all the money's going to go to the ambulance, then why need the accounting change? It seems to me that this change is being done so that the money goes to the general fund, so it's available for general funds and general purposes. And that's the way, because if it goes to general fund, then the only way it can be set aside
okay,
for the
hang on one
ambulance.
second. I just want to. I know that this is a tough question, but I just want to warn everybody about shaking heads and doing these sorts of things. Everybody's got an opportunity to speak here. I just want to warn everybody to sort of just let one another speak and listen to one another, and we'll come to some decision at some point. So thank you. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Right, thank you. My point is that if the money goes to the general fund and into stabilization, that requires a vote at town meeting. Right now, it doesn't require a vote. So in the future, there is a better chance for us to divert some of that money. I think the way the system works well is well enough. I understand there may be need for more revenue. I'm pleased that we do not have an override on the table this year. I suspect it's coming soon, but that's another matter, and that does need to be addressed. I am not convinced this is the right way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, to
Yes.
you, through you to the accountant.
Yeah.
So this is merely an accounting move.
It is. We need additional revenue coming into the town through local
Right.
receipts. So in my revenue forecast for this year, I'm showing $340,000 of additional local receipts provided by the ambulance.
Does it also combine, in this article, does that combine the ambulance and the fire department together?
No. So once we get to the operating budget, you'll see that the EMS is separate from the fire department. So we worked with Donna to establish what she thought was a good ambulance budget. So ambulance wages, and then we broke out the ambulance expenses the best we could as a trial for fiscal year 26. But ambulance is completely separate with all new account numbers than fire.
So ambulance and fire would remain separate?
Yes.
Okay. I agree that it should remain the way it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Beth Coughlin, 10 Common Street. So, Mr. Moderator, I just wanted to ensure that we clearly delineated the prior levels of support and statements for this particular article. I stated, and I don't have the date of the meeting, expressly that the only way I supported this article, and this is almost verbatim, was in the event that we would establish a specific, to the paramedic squad, capital stabilization account. There were 2 meetings at which my peers, I was not in attendance, could have gone ahead, reopened the warrant, and
Oh, okay,
and gotten the verbiage. Okay.
I'm going to stop you there. And the
Okay.
reason why I'm going to stop you is you're speaking on a past decision of the select board, and that is not allowed. Please
Absolutely.
address the question in support or in opposition
Okay.
and your reasons. Thank you.
I personally do not support this action. It has not been fully vetted, and all of the potential impacts fully considered for the betterment of the community, period.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
yeah, no,
Go
I'm going to
ahead.
recognize her.
Yep.
Hi there. Ooh, sorry. I'm Nikki from Town Farm Road. And I actually had the opportunity of taking an ambulance the other night. It was Tuesday morning, and 2 a.m., my son woke up and could not breathe. We called 911, and patrolman came, and then the ambulance came and took us to Harrington Hospital. I would never want to be in a situation where our funds go into an account and then they're needed for something else in town. And we have seen this, all of us have seen this.
Please address me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't
All
turn
of
around.
us have seen this throughout different forms of government where something is taken and then it's not used in the way that it was originally intended, and especially if there's not a specific special account created. And I don't understand, I will say this, I do not understand the purpose of moving the funds, because it sounds like the town needs them for other things. When I hear you speak about this, it sounds like the town needs them for other things. And if that's the case, that means we are not using them for the ambulance. And I would never want to be in the situation where we are denying the safety of access to ambulances because we are moving money and trying to get money in the town for something else. So I just want to say thank you so much to the paramedics, to the ambulance drivers, and to the folks who, the patrolmen and the folks who do this. And I want to make sure that we protect that money. So I am absolutely, as someone who just rode in an ambulance in this town, absolutely voting no on this. There is not safety set up for this other account. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I think Mr. Selectman, Mr. Chafee wanted to speak. Now, this is your second time, Mr. Chafee?
Yes, I have a couple questions for the town accountant through you, Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
How many other towns do you work in?
I currently work in 6 other towns.
How many other towns do this, like the existing method in Brookfield?
I don't have any others that have a receipt reserved account.
And is this going to help us with collections more so by taking this step versus the method that we have?
So currently, the ambulance is fully in charge of collections. They use their own contractor. Nothing currently will change. We did approach the ambulance director to look into other forms of collections. That's an ongoing discussion, but in the end, that's her decision. All that this is going to do is bring in revenues into the general fund and pay all of their expenses through the general fund. And any excess revenue that they bring in will help the tax rate for all of the departments and all of the residents in Brookfield.
So, under a rare circumstance, that those funds could be used, or would it would have to go to an annual vote before it was done?
No, so the way that the fund would be set up now is that all of the revenues that come in would come into a general fund account. They would go on a local receipt budget, similar to the way our motor vehicle excise taxes are collected. We would account for them at the end of the year. When we do our tax rate in the fall, it would be part of what makes up our tax rate and our recap.
There's about 17
Okay,
seconds.
thank you.
You all set?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Holcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. If you remember, this town's had a really hard time getting a good town accountant over the years. We have a good town accountant. She's given us good advice. All this is her job is to watch over our money. She's to account for our money. And that's what she's going to do in this account. Nobody's going to spend the money from the ambulance, and I don't want to see that happen either. It's going to go into an account. It's not going to be used for anything else. It's going to be strictly for the ambulance, but this is strictly for accounting and transparency. And she can keep track, and we'll know exactly what's in there. The ambulance crew is not our accountants. We pay her to be our accountant, and we got a good one, and I think we should take her advice and do this article.
Thank you.
Linda Barron, 23 Main Street.
You're going to have to
I'm
step
sorry.
closer.
Okay,
I know
thank you.
that thing is blasting at you, and I'm sorry
Oh,
about that, but
it's
you
okay.
need to, because those folks, you need to get close to the mic. Thank
Is
you.
this close enough?
Yes, I think it is.
Okay. I agree that we've had problems for many years with our treasury, with the accounting. Appreciate what you have done to clear the books. I also appreciate what Donna has done over the years in keeping the system of building up a self-funded service in town. And in the future, if there were this special fund that we were voting on tonight, I would certainly consider this. But right now, there is no special fund. It's simply going into the general fund, and I would not support it.
Thank you.
Mary Lou Knight, 20 Lane 21. Would it not be more prudent to put this off until the next annual or special meeting when there can be a specific account set up for the ambulance fund? I think we're rushing this. I would defeat it tonight and hope it would be brought back at a future time.
Thank you. This
Mr.
is your
Moderator,
second time.
I understand. Through you to the accountant. Lori, did I hear you?
Can you, you got to
thank
step
you.
up. I'm sorry.
Did I hear you correctly say that that if this change happened, that the ambulance money coming in through the general fund?
You need to get closer. People in the back can't hear you.
Did I hear you correctly say that the money coming in from the general fund would be available to lower the tax rate?
It's hopefully going to keep the tax rate steady. Currently,
Okay.
we're coming up short in local receipts.
Okay, thank you. So, and this change, and that would only happen if we made this change?
We're coming up short in local receipts without the ambulance, yes.
Okay, so while I understand we're between a rock and a hard place, I believe that does indicate clearly that some of the ambulance money will be used for non-ambulance purposes. Would you agree with that statement?
The ambulance money that comes in would go into the pool of general fund local receipts, yes.
Correct. And some of it would be, and therefore it would be eligible for use for non-ambulance purposes, which is different than what we have today.
So that's the point of this, is to bring it into the pool of general fund local receipts, and then they would be allocated funds for ambulances and other capital items like all other departments are through free cash.
Okay. But with the general fund, that can also pay for operating expenses. It's up to town meeting to allocate those monies, and they're fundamentally all fungible. It just adds to the pool of allocatable revenue.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it can be used. Thank you. All right, sorry. It can be used for non-ambulance expenses, is my takeaway. Thank you.
Thank you. Hang on one second. Mr. Town Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Just to clarify the point that Tom was just making, it works in reverse as well, because we have a situation for fiscal year 26 in which the ambulance receipts, and Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, are being estimated to be $340,000. However, the anticipated budget for fiscal year 26 is being estimated at $356,000. So as you can see, this is an instance where the ambulance receipts are not covering the ambulance expenses. So this is a case where the town is helping out the ambulance. So that's I guess that's the flip side of the equation that was just discussed. So it can work in either direction. What we're indicating is for fiscal year 26, it's going to work in the ambulance's benefit because their receipts are anticipated to be at a lower amount than their expenses. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Thank you.
Roger LaFleur, 40 East Main Street. So just a little historical perspective, Mr. Moderator. Donna's been on the ambulance since 1977, which is probably before some of the people sitting in front of me were born. She's been the chief since 1987, which is 38 years. And she's managed to buy 4 ambulances for the town with no cost to the town. She's managed to pay all of the wages, all the expenses for materials and supplies without any expense to the town. From my standpoint, I don't see where the town has ever come forward in those years that she's been running it to give her money. And she's set up a system where her funds go into a specific account. If she's going to need $500,000 in 4 or 5 years to get a new ambulance, the money's going to be there. If it goes into the general fund, I'm not so sure that it's going to be there. There's no guarantee that that's set up this way this year. And from my standpoint, the system is not broken. She's done this for 38 years to no cost to the town, and we should continue doing it that way.
You just turned the microphone off. Actually, just click that button once. That's it. As long as the green light is steady. Jacob, could you help him?
Okay, I got it. I got it.
You probably should keep your hands off the mic, Mr. Cook.
Yeah, I probably should. I support this article, but probably for different reasons. I've never liked this idea of special accounts. I think everything should go into the general fund, and here's why. You have a limited amount of money in your pot. You have all these priorities. You come to town meeting, you should be able to weigh one against the other, make a decision as to what we really need to do. If we really need to buy a new ambulance, we'll appropriate that money. But that means something else will not be spent on. So I would urge you to support this article.
Thank you. Mr. Tapp.
Mr. Moderator, again, I would like to vote against this. Please move the question.
A motion has been made to move the previous question.
Second?
I'm not gonna. Is there a second? Second. There's a second. Okay. Now we got the clickers. This is a 2/3 vote. Mr. Gorham, we got some wacky stuff going on here. All right. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. So the motion has been made.
No, I just want to get some clarification on if you vote yes for this, is that you in favor of it, or if you vote no,
Okay, so
it's
hold on one
against it?
second. Hold on one second.
Okay.
The motion is up on the screen. It's to move the previous question. So what we're voting on right now is to end debate. It has nothing to do with the underlying motion, except that we're cutting off debate, and then we'll vote on the underlying motions. Everybody understand that? All we're doing now is want to close debate. So if more than 2/3 of you, 2/3 or more of you want to close debate, we're going to end debate. Okay? So are you ready to vote? The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't already voted, please do so now, as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion has been adopted, 95 votes to 9. Debate has ended. We are now going to vote on the main motion, which is to vote to see if the town will rescind the vote taken in November 1999 to adopt Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5F, establishing the Ambulance Receipts Reserve reserved account and further transfer the balance of the Fund 100 ambulance RRAP to capitalization. Please get ready to vote. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't voted already, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is defeated. 42 yes, 67 no. Article number 3.
Mr. Moderator.
Please turn your mic on.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town raise and appropriate 11 million.
Hold on one second. Please, up front here, you're going to be distracting me, and I can't handle that, so please don't do that. All right.
I'll
Would you please
over.
start over? Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town raise and appropriate $11,061,824.32 to defray the expenses of the town for ensuing year, as shown in our fiscal year budget, as contained in the annotated warrant.
A motion has been made that the town raise and appropriate $11,061,824.32 to defray the expenses of the town for the ensuing year as shown in the fiscal year 26 budget as contained in the annotated warrant that you should have in front of you. And if you don't have one of those, there are more down back. Is there a second to the motion? I heard a second. Very good. We got a motion to adopt the budget on the floor. All right, so this is the way we're going to run through this thing, okay? You all have the annotated budget before you. I am going to run through this page by page. I believe my pages line up with yours. So on page 1, the top one is the moderator's salary, and at the bottom of the page is assessor's stipends. We are going to be using the select board numbers. Okay, so fiscal 26 select board values. There are 2 columns there. One is the advisory committee and the other one is the select board. It's the right-hand column. Those are the numbers we're using. So if you want to change any of those numbers to something else, now's your time to do it. So look over this page. If there's anything on this page that you think you want to change, please come to the microphone and address the moderator. Otherwise, I'm going to move along. And if perchance we start moving along and you kind of go back to page 1 and say, hey, wait a second, I don't like that number, I'd be more than happy to return to page 1. All right? So as long as the motion is still on the floor, we're going to be looking at the budget. Okay, then. You have something on page number 1.
Yes, Steve Carmen. On page 1, under General Government, All Boards Clerk, you can see here
Hold on one second. Let me just make sure. Okay, I got it.
Yes, there you can see that the fiscal year select board value is $5,396.82, and that's a result of that position being cut from 10 hours a week to 5 hours a week.
Does somebody have an answer to that question?
It's not a question, it's just a statement.
Okay, so if you're going to make a statement, then I'm going to need you to make a motion to amend?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you want to do?
I'll make a motion to amend the All Boards Clerk line item from to the advisory committee value of $10,793.64.
Okay, so there is a motion to amend All Boards Clerk, which currently is at $5,396.82. The motion is to strike that amount and insert the amount of $10,793.64, which is the advisory committee's recommendation. Is there a second to the motion to amend? There is a second. You may now debate your motion. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Earlier this year, February 6, 2025, the Select Board adjusted the All Boards Clerk hours from 15 hours a week to 10 hours a week. This was just a few months ago, and this decision was made with input from the boards affected by this change. In May 22nd, 2025, which is just a couple weeks ago, the Select Board once again adjusted this All Boards Clerk hours from 10 hours a week to 5 hours a week. This decision was made with no input from my perspective. For context, I'm the chair of the Conservation Commission, and I'm also a member of the Planning Board. The All Boards Clerk covers both of these boards, as well as the Zoning Board of Appeals. That's 3 boards that the All Boards Clerk is covering, and at 5 hours a week, it is an incredibly minor amount of hours to cover the administrative work that can assist our board members, who in many cases are volunteers. So the All Boards Clerk, in large sense, can do meeting minutes, but they can also do billing and invoicing, answering phone calls, posting legal notices, verifying application documents. There are many tasks that the All Boards Clerk can do. And thinking about this from a perspective of 5 hours a week to cover 3 boards, any hours you take away from the All Boards Clerk are ultimately going to put on the volunteers and the those who collect $500 a year stipends for this. So I think it would be in the benefit of the town to help our volunteers and help our community to pay for this administrative work that would otherwise fall on volunteers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further debate on the motion to amend? The motion to amend is to strike $5,396.82 and insert $10,793.64 for the All Boards Clerk. This gentleman, I saw this gentleman first, oh.
I don't want to talk about that.
You don't want to talk? Well, what are you standing up for? Come on, you know, you're like, sorry about that.
Move forward.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Ken.
Richard, you're up, so go ahead.
Rich Chafee. So, in the past, we've had a clerk for the conservation and a clerk for the planning board. In 2022, that was an amount of $1,960 for each, and that was adequate for both. Prior to that, we had, it looks like, 357 for the Concom in 2021, and 3,900 to the planning board. But these numbers fluctuate significantly. What's literally happening with our all boards clerk is when a contractor comes to the town, the all boards clerk is doing the paperwork for the contractor in most cases. And that's being paid for on the backs of the taxpayer. I don't agree with it. Every single person that comes into Concom Planning Board, they can have a paid professional to do the work for them. We shouldn't be having the all boards clerk do that. The primary function of the all boards clerk is to do minutes for each board. In speaking with Mr. Carmen, he told me if a 1 hour meeting, if a meeting lasts for 1 hour, it takes 2 hours to do those minutes. In most cases, there's one meeting a month. So that would be 3 hours for that month to do those. Planning board, same thing. It seems incredibly foolish for us to continue to pay to take care of the contractors that come to our town because of the residents, right? They're paying the bill for this. So essentially, 5 hours a week is 20 hours a month to do minutes for 2 boards that meet approximately an hour and a half a month. Secondly, I'll make my last point. The ZBA meets rarely, maybe 3 times a year, 4 times a year. So they're literally doing minutes for 2 boards once a month for 20 hours is extremely excessive.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Mr. Moderator. Kevin Urkela, 130 Long Hill Road. I'm also the chair of the Planning Board. As Mr. Carmen noted, we were not advised that this decision was going to be considered, let alone taken. And the current occupant of the AB clerk position was hired with the idea that this was going to be a 10-hour-a-week position. This feels a bit like bait and switch because suddenly after 7 weeks in the job, it becomes a 5-hour-a-week position. How are we supposed to get good people? And I don't mean long experienced people who can do this kind of work, not just minutes, but advise applicants who come into the town hall or call in without you know, giving them some kind of assurance that their position is what they think it is. To Mr. Chafee's point, most of the people who appear before the planning board are residents of this town. Most of the applicants are residents of this town. They may be hiring some other contractor to work with them, but the applicants themselves are the town. They're due good service, and reducing the hours of the planning board clerk, who also works for the Conservation Commission, does not support that kind of good service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharon Mahoney, 130 Long Hill Road. I am the former chair of the planning board, and I held that position for, I believe, 6 years. We went through a number of clerks. In one instance, we had trouble hiring a clerk, and I ended up doing everything. That is why, in some cases, the numbers have fluctuated from one year to the next as far as the budget for the salary of that clerk, even before it became the all boards clerk. I also want to point out something else. The Conservation Commission and the Planning Board have to follow state law. It is not just a question of making decisions in-house, in town. There are rules that have to be followed as far as the type of documents that are submitted, what those documents contain, and the documents that may be asked of an applicant. Now, if they have to wait until a meeting to ask that information from the board, when a clerk who is cognizant of that information is able to tell them up front, it will not only save time on the part of those two institutions, but it will expedite the work that has to be done on behalf of those people, again, most of whom are residents of this town, that cannot be accomplished on a 5-hour-a-week stipend. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you're good.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I want to say that I've been permitting for over 35 years in many of the communities around Brookfield. This is the only community that I've come into that allows an all-board clerk to do the bulk of the work for an applicant. Generally, it's done by the applicant themselves. They have the ability to email the Concom or the planning board. We have a fully staffed town hall. And tell me simply what the difference is fundamentally if we have 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week. So that means basically an hour and a quarter a day or 2.5 hours a day, right? So you got to be pretty lucky to catch the person you're calling at that point, right? So an hour and a quarter or 2.5. This is the only town around that does this that I'm aware of, other than the town of Holland. And when it was proposed from Holland, it was the same town administrator that moved Brookfield. So, Mr. Moderator, I move the question.
That's out of order. You can't debate and then move the previous question.
Okay,
you
sorry
have
about
to,
that.
Once you hit that
Okay.
microphone, you got to make that motion. So it's out of order. Thank you.
Steve Carmen again. On my 5 months on the Conservation Commission, I have not once seen an all boards clerk or any clerk position do the paperwork for the applicant. It is done by the applicant, and there is also paperwork that needs to be done for the Conservation Commission itself, for filling out orders of conditions, for determinations of applicability, filing them with the Department of Environmental Protection. To mail out legal notices, we can improve that process, but it is still a task that the all boards clerk can assist with. For having a point of contact for a phone call, if there's any applicant who wants to get more information, I don't think a volunteer conservation commissioner such as myself can field phone calls all day. I'm happy to speak with applicants, and in my own time, over the past couple months, I've been spending 10 hours a week of my own personal volunteer time answering calls, helping applicants with the process, because we need to improve our process. But once we improve it, there are certainly still 10 hours of administrative work that can be shared across these 3 boards. Thank you.
Okay.
Move the question.
Motion has been made to move the previous question. Is there a second? I did hear a second. Is there a second? Second. I heard a second. Okay, so the The motion before us is to move the previous question. So again, we're just looking to close debate. We're not looking to vote on the amendment, which is to strike 5,000. So we just want to close debate. So get ready to vote. The polls are everybody ready to vote? You got to keep those plastic clickers right in your hand. You never know when it's going to come up there. The polls are now open. You may vote. If you haven't already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion to close debate has been adopted, 99-4. We are now back to the main, the motion to amend the all boards clerk's salary by striking $5,396.82 and inserting $10,793.64. Are you ready to vote? The polls are now open. Vote. I should say, you may vote. If you have not already voted, please do so now as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted 59-41. So the all boards clerk salary is now $10,793.64. Are there any other items on page number 1 that someone would like to address?
If I'm on the right page, I'm questioning the legal fund. Are we in that same block?
What's the amount? Legal fund.
It's gone, it looks like it's gone up 15,000. Is that correct?
Hang
I
on,
want to know
need
why it went up.
I need to find the line.
Legal services right here.
Legal service. Okay, so legal services for $75,000. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and it's an increase of, what, 15,000? I want to know why it's gone up so much. We have
Okay.
quite a bit in there as it is now.
Town administrator would like to answer your question.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Yes, that is correct. There's a $15,000 increase for fiscal year 25 versus fiscal year 26. The reason for that is currently right now we are in a deficit account in our deficit spending with our law account. We've had an inordinate amount of lawsuits that have been brought against the town, and based upon the actuals that we're seeing and the anticipation that it's in essence really going to continue into fiscal year 26, myself, the town accountant, advisory committee, the select board all believed it was prudent to increase it by that amount. And to be honest with you, based upon the last billings that we have received from town council, $75,000 might be conservative.
Does that address? Okay. Anything else on page number 1 here?
Herb Chafee, 20 Lake Road. Grant writers' wages. Why do we have so much money in that account, and why don't we put it out for a contract or have a grant writer write the grant and get the money out of the grant?
That's for $1,200.
24,610.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Do we have a? That's your question?
Question, yeah.
Yeah. Do we have an answer, town administrator?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Yes, what you see in the line item grant writer, actually, I'll take a step back. Currently, we have one person that is fulfilling what we refer to as a hybrid position. in which they are part grant writer and also part highway administrator. What you see before you, the $24,000 in the grant writing is half of that wage. You will see a reciprocal number once we get to the highway administrative assistant. So that is just a position that existed throughout fiscal year 25, and it's just being brought forward to fiscal year 26.
Why, I guess why are we paying $24,000 out there for somebody to be sitting around not doing a whole heck of a lot or getting many grants in this town? We've got a few, there's no question about it. But if the grant's written by a grant writer and it's written in the right way, the grant writer gets paid out of the grant.
If you want,
Want me to make it clear?
you want to change it?
I make it zero.
There has been a motion made to strike $24,610.56 from the grant writer's wages and insert as zero. Is there a second to the motion? Is there a second to the motion? You got to call it out. There's a second. Okay, people are. If I need to hear you say second, okay, raising the hand is like, I don't know, maybe you're waving to me. I say, hey, how's it going? Okay, motion has been made to strike $24,610.56 from grant writer's wages and insert zero. Is there any further debate or discussion?
Mr. Moderator, through you, I'd like to understand the grant writer position. Is all they do write grants, or do they perform other services for the town? For example, do they administer the grant, make sure that we comply with the terms of the grant, so therefore we don't forfeit that grant money? Do they make sure that everything is done properly? Grants aren't, as I understand it, grants aren't just, here, can I have some money? Yes, and then you get it. Grants have conditions. Who in town is responsible for ensuring that we comply with those conditions and that we satisfy the grant giver with the paperwork so they don't blackball us in future grants?
Town administrator.
Yes, there is, I'll call it two parts to the job. One is
I
obviously...
think you need to get a little bit closer to the microphone.
Yes, there are in fact two parts to that position, or two major responsibilities. One is submitting the grant, researching and submitting the grants. The other half is when grants are actually awarded to the town. Yes, I agree. There are conditions, there are certain reporting requirements, and that is all on the grant writer to fulfill those.
And as a follow-up question to the, through you, Mr. Moderator, to the town administrator, in general, what is the amount of money the town realizes through grants? Annual average in the last couple of years, ballpark at best. I know you don't have your numbers in front of you. If someone else on the table wants to take a stab at that, I'm happy to take the estimate. But for example, we did get a $1 million grant for Gay Road reconstruction through the grant writer. I think that helps pay for it.
Do we have a value? Yep.
Yeah, I do not have an exact dollar amount. The current grant writer has been in the position for a little over a year. There have been one grant for Gay Road that was awarded. And then Lori, feel free to chip in if you can remember some other grants.
Okay.
That was certainly the major one in fiscal year 25.
All right.
We've had some others that were submitted but were not awarded.
Okay. Time's up.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would just like to clarify something in Tom's comment. Yes, the grant writer manages the grant, but that does not mean that if we subcontracted or we hired somebody to do a match grant that they would not also manage the grant. So that's not to say that if we went to a grant writer company that they wouldn't also manage the grant, or that you could not put a bid out to have the contractor manage the bid also. So it's not just the grant writer that has to manage the bid or the grant.
You all done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Moderator, prior to the grant writer being a part-time with the highway administrator, we had a standalone grant writer, which secured, and I don't know what the number is, somebody may know, but there was any number of projects that got funded through the grant writer over a number of years. I think she was there 2 or 3 years prior to the present arrangement. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further debate? The motion before us is to amend grant writer wages
I got something, Bill.
from 24,000 something to 0. Mr. Holcraft.
Yeah, just a point of interest. Back in the day, we had a person that did the highway and the grant writing, and I believe she got 24 hours a week to do both of those jobs. Then it jumped up for some reason to have a grant writer. I don't know how many hours she has. Now we have a grant writer doing 16 hours, just grant writing. Maybe that can be reduced, but back in the day, we had 24 hours, and that did both jobs.
Thank you. Is there any further debate on the motion to strike grant writer wages at $24,610.56 to 0? Any further debate? All right, looks like you need to get your clickers out. Everybody ready to vote? The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't voted already, please do so now. I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion has failed, 41 yes, 60 no. Anything further on page number 1 of the budget? Seeing none, I'm going to move to page 2. Remember, I'm more than happy to come back to page 1 if necessary. Okay, we're now on page 2. Does anybody have anything that they would like to change here? Any amendments to any line number? Again, we're using the Select Board's recommendation in the right-hand column.
Steve Carmen, this is a split. It's the Conservation Commission expenses. It wraps onto the next page too.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to strike the current expenses and replace it with a single line item for $1,800.
Okay, so I'm not sure I understand just exactly what you want to do.
There are 2 line items here. There's Conservation Commission expenses,
Yep.
and then below that there is training new.
Correct.
I would like to strike those and replace it with a single Conservation Commission expenses line item for $1,800.
Okay. A motion has been made to strike $2,500 from Conservation Commission expenses at the bottom of page 2 and training new of $1,500. So we're striking those 2 numbers and we want to insert $1,800. Okay,
Correct.
is there a second to the motion? Second. There is a second. You have a motion to amend. You may speak to it.
Okay, thank you. I'm the new chair of the Conservation Commission as of a few weeks ago. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the new chair of the Conservation as of a few weeks ago. The Conservation Commission did meet and discuss our budget a couple months ago, and 2 of the recommendations which increased these values here, one was to have a conservation agent that we would hire out of town to assist us with our conservation tasks. And the other one is training. The training one was my recommendation because I feel like we should spend some investment internally to train our volunteers on how to contribute to our community. And that $1,500 there is for 3 commissioners to attain basic training. I feel like it would be beneficial for us to group this into a single line item for $1,800, so at our discretion, we can decide how many commissioners attain basic training, and if we have any other needs for consultation with professionals, whether it be another conservation agent, we can have that. I feel like we perhaps asked for a bit too much in the full sum of the original line item here, and that's why I want to cut it in half effectively, and at our discretion spend how it goes to training and how it goes to hiring professionals to help us with particular complicated projects.
Okay. Is there any further debate on the motion?
Yeah.
So to be sure that everybody understands what we're doing here,
Mr. Moderator.
you just have to wait for me, okay? We want to strike $2,500 and $1,500 at the bottom of page 2 for Conservation Commission expenses and training new, and in place of those two lines, $1,800. Okay. Advisory Committee.
Mr. Moderator, through you, Stephen, could you just respond to the question? I mean, that's a significant drop. Our committee would want to be assured that you can, for the training amount, the 1,500, do you think that was just an estimate at first? Because that's what, I would not want to see the new commissioners not trained because we're lacking funds. So I just want to make sure that you're comfortable with that number, because that's a, I mean, thank you very much, but it's a big drop. So
It is, but it's also a big save. Well, we're asking for some money from the all boards clerk, and to an extent, I feel like we need to be budget conscious. I feel like as far as having another professional employee of some capacity, whether it be a conservation agent that we reach out to, is not as much of a priority as far as us internally getting trained. So the $1,500 is for 3 commissioners to get trained. It's a 7 commissioner commission. So that's assuming that 3 of us would actually want to go through that. It's 8 courses, 3 hours each. Volunteers are hard to come by in Brookfield and maybe other towns, so it might be optimistic whether 3 of us actually want to go through with it. So that would be sort of the all-in approach for everybody to attain training. And anything that's left over would be for hiring professionals to assist with complex projects. I don't think we need to hire for a conservation agent, but we might need to consult with a professional for some projects. So whatever money is left over from those who do not attain training could be used for that purpose.
Okay. Anything else? I'm sorry, I saw her first, so we'll get to you next.
Hi, Nikki on Town Farm Road. I just wanted to know if you could speak for a moment about the conservation. Can I ask a question through you too?
You need to ask, yeah, just talk to me.
So can you explain the Conservation Commission and when we would need to hire an expert and why you're thinking now we wouldn't need to hire an expert?
All right, so the Conservation Commission's charge is to enforce the Wetlands Protection Act. So whenever a new construction or a project is happening within the vicinity of wetlands, the Conservation Commission is involved. An applicant goes through them to make sure that the permitting process is done to protect these resources. Now, if you look at our past budget for the Conservation Commission, prior to this year, our budget was just for expenses of $333. So going from $333 to $1,800, which is my suggestion, is going up. So I'm not saying that we don't need a professional, but we do have some occasionally large construction projects that are perhaps beyond the scope of volunteers who are giving their time, doing their best to give back to the community, and there will be some scenarios where we may need professional assistance with that. So granted, we may not have all 3 commissioners attain training. We'll have to use that at our discretion. But I do not feel like we need to claim the full initial proposed amount. I think we will have enough for both. We'll just have to figure out as a commission how we want to balance it among training and hiring professionals for particularly large construction projects, which might require professional assistance.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any further debate? Oh, yeah, right here. I'm sorry.
Through the moderator, I have a question for Steve. Did you ask the rest of the Conservation Commission members if they were okay with you changing the budget?
I have not. We did not have a time. Well, we could have made a time. Granted, we've had 2 commissioners just resign, and we've had 3 commissioners just join within the past week. So we are in a stage for those who voted on that at that time to shake things up. So I believe the remaining commissioners at this point, there are 3 of them as well, and Sarah is one of them. So I would like to get the input of her and how she feels about this too. The other 2 would be Kristen Reeves Hall and Bill Meeker, and they are not here tonight. I don't believe they are here tonight. If they are, I would like them to speak on this as well. From my perspective, I think we should give some input from the other commissioners. I'm not trying to make this decision unilaterally, but at the same time, I am trying to be budget conscious as the new chair of the Conservation Commission. With a new commission, With 3 new members,
So I just want to make it clear to everybody and you're here not as the chair of the Conservation Commission. You're making this motion just as a citizen of Brookfield because you don't have any authority to do this for the commission itself. Just want to make sure that everybody understands that, okay, and that you understand that.
Correct.
So anyway, Sarah has 52 seconds. I don't know if you have more to say, but you all done? Okay. Town accountant.
Through you, Mr. Moderator, I have a question for Steve. You said you have a current budget of about $300 for fiscal year 25. You guys have spent your entire budget, all but $40, on miscellaneous dues and legal ads and other miscellaneous items. Have you accounted for that in the $1,800?
yes. So for those legal notices, we should not be charging that against our account. There will be some occasional times where we may need to, but legal notices are the obligation of the applicant. They should be paying that, not us. There has been some mismanagement in the Conservation Commission where we have not been billing applicants for that, and then it comes out of our account. So I am refining the process to make sure that we collect a application fee that includes that cost, so we do not incur it as the town.
Okay. Anybody else?
One more thing. I'm just wondering if you don't spend all the money, and I'll direct through you, sir, can the money be put back in, either held for the next year or put back in a general fund for the town, so that we don't have to make this decision right now, but you could see sort of how many people get trained and whether there's bigger projects coming through? Because I guess what I wouldn't, we have such a lovely town, and when legal processes come through, they're sometimes very expensive, and I don't know anything about what you do, but it sounds like there could be this need, and so could we set aside that money for you so that it's there, and then either allot it for the next year if you don't spend it, or just put it back in the general fund if it's not spent?
Okay, so I think a question has been asked. Can you do what she's asking?
Sure. Through you, Mr. Moderator. So the question that was asked is, can the money be reserved for the following year or put back in the general fund? If we were to fund the entire $4,000 as printed in the budget and the Conservation Commission did not spend it all, it would go into our undesignated fund balance at the end of the year, which is where all the unspent money goes, which is part of what makes up the town's free cash at the end of the year. It cannot be held over for the following year because it is part of the operating budget.
Okay. Is there any further debate on the motion to amend the budget by striking the Conservation Commission expenses and the training new $2,500 and $1,500, which amounts to $4,000, and inserting $1,800? Any further debate on the question?
Excuse- just-
Okay.
Just one point, if I
Well,
may, Mr. Moderator.
Sure.
I'm sure a good number of you have been here in previous years and understand the budget process and the budget cycle. I know you're just coming in, Steve, and want to do your part to lower the budget numbers. But, I mean, we're sort of after the fact where we've already reviewed everything in depth as far as the advisory committee and the select board. And I'm just a little bit concerned that you haven't consulted with all the people in your new
Yeah, so
group.
I just want to remind you that he's here as an individual, and they can't have a commission meeting here, so.
No, I understand that, but I'm
Right.
just saying, as far as if this had happened 3 weeks ago, we wouldn't be having this discussion. So anyway, thank you.
Okay. Any further debate on the motion to strike the $4,000 and insert $1,800? All right, get your clickers out. Are you ready to vote? The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted, 67 to 37. So we've struck $2,500 and $1,500 and inserted $1,800. Is there anything further on page number 2?
I'll try to rise up to the
You can turn
microphone.
you can spin it. There you go.
Okay.
You're all fine.
The collector expenses has gone up 48.81%. I'm curious what that increase is due to.
Okay, so the question is, she's questioning collector expenses that has, I don't have those numbers in front of me, has gone up or down, whichever, and she's just asking why they've gone up. Town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The overwhelming majority of that increase is due directly to postage.
Is
It's
due to
directly
postage.
to postage.
Mailing stuff. Anything else on page number 2? All right, hearing none, we're going to page 3. Is there anything on page 3 that anyone would like to do something about? Change a number or something like that? I think we got a taker. Oh.
You're probably going to explain what I was going to ask.
Chief Blanchard.
Mr. Moderator, Mike Blanchard, Chief of Police. Through you, I don't know if I have the ability to make a motion, but police wages and part-time, overtime, I would like it reconsidered from the $23,472.17 back to the original $46,600 that I requested. This is due basically to cover contractually.
Okay, hold on.
Answer the question, please, I guess.
Sorry, I was writing it down. So, because you're not a resident of Brookfield, you cannot make that motion to amend. I'm sure that there's somebody who would want to make that motion. So if you could just step aside for a moment no, don't go anywhere, Chief. Don't go anywhere because you gotta defend this thing. So go ahead.
Mr. Moderator, I move that we modify the line police wages part-time overtime from $23,472.17 to the requested amount of $46,600. And so I'll make the motion.
Okay, a motion has been made. Stay there for one moment. A motion has been made to strike from police wages part-time / overtime $23,472.17 and insert $46,600. Is there a second? Second. There is a second. If you want to yield to the chief, or you have the floor, so go for broke.
Chief.
Thank you. Just $23,000. Excuse me. What am I saying here? I got to find my spot here. $23,472. What isn't it enough to contractually cover what the town agreed on the union contract? Just using their what they're guaranteed, their overtime through vacation, people taking vacation time off, and personal time off. That figure is $33,456. The rest of the money, to bring it up to the $46,600, comes from sick time that they may use, holiday time that they may use, any court time, any investigations, any late calls held over, called in early or anything like that, and overtime money's used to cover events such as Halloween. We'll put a few more people on Halloween. The Apple Country Fair, we put overtime people on. They pay some detail, but we also do overtime too for that. So that's where that's where we come up with the $46,600.
Okay. Are you all set?
I'm all set. Thank you.
You got another minute or so. I'll I'll make this your first time, so go ahead.
All right. Chief, the question I have for you is, what is the effective impact on your operation for the department if the originally proposed number, if this motion fails, if you don't get the additional money? What happens to how you run the department?
Chief?
Well, I would either have to go back and ask for more money, and if there is no more money, then obviously certain shifts don't get filled without money.
Okay. Mr. Cook?
Yeah, Mr. Moderator, I have a question for either Town Accountant Advisory Board. I'm trying to keep track of the spending here. So if we were to add in this additional money for police over time, where do we stand in terms of the levy and the variance?
Sure. Through you, Mr. Moderator. Currently, we had just over $200,000 of levy headroom left, so we do have the ability to do this.
Okay.
Very good. We have a motion before us to amend police wages, excuse me, part-time overtime by striking $23,472.17 and inserting $46,600. Is there any further discussion on this amendment? Looks like there isn't. Get your clickers ready. Are you ready to vote? The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted, 63-42. So you got your $46,600. Chief, anything else on page number 2 or 3?
Mr. Moderator, in the same section, under the police tuition reimbursement, I see it's gone to 0. Could I have an explanation?
Someone wants to know why that's gone to 0. Chief?
So contractually, they are allowed to get tuition reimbursement. However, they're to notify me by a certain date so I can put it in this year's, upcoming budget. Nobody indicated that they wanted to go to school, so that's why there's 0 money, because it's not needed.
Nobody wanted it. Very good.
Thank you.
Chief, I have a question before you go away, please. I originally thought the police full-time wages was replacing the hourly wages, and you guys were going to hire either an extra officer full-time or something like that to replace the part-time. But clearly that's not what I'm seeing. And maybe the full-time wages is just an increase of like year over year, like cost of living increase. But it seems, I guess it's a little less than 10%. Maybe someone could help me with the math. Maybe it's like 8%. It seems a little high for year over year, but so I was just wondering if you could explain that.
So it is done by contract. However, we are hiring an additional officer. Not when I say additional, we've been slated for 7 full-time officers, including myself. One of the positions has been empty for quite a while, and we do have a candidate that we're hiring, but we're hiring due to the experience. They're going to come in at a higher rate. So that money was originally moved out of the overtime account and put into the salaries to cover it. So that's why I think that's why it comes up over a little over 10%. But the rest of it is just contractually where they get their 3% raises or whatever. You're welcome.
All right. Anything else on page number 3?
Well, I'll put it out there. The last item on page number 3, fire wages, was cut 10,000 and change, and in the current budget we are running short 10,000 and change. Our call volume from
You got to speak right into that, puppy. Just tilt it up and.
Okay, so fire wages, the last one on page 3 was cut from proposal for about 10,000. You can see 10,391.84. The current budget for fire wages is short a very similar amount, over $10,000. In calendar 24, we did 25% more calls than we did in calendar 23. Right now, we're on par to do more in calendar 25 than we did in 24.
Can I ask you just, do you want to increase this amount?
You started it. I would make a motion to reflect that line, fire wages, to, what did I ask for? $88,992.
$88,900 and what?
$92.
92.
The FY26 requested.
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me. So $88,992, is that what I heard you say?
Please.
Okay. There's a motion that's been made to strike $79,551.84 and insert $88,992. Is there a second to the motion? There's a second to the motion. Is there any debate on the motion to increase the fire wages to $88,992?
Mr. Moderator, through you, I address this question to the advisory committee. In my time on the advisory committee, when we worked with Peter on the budget, we would map out the expected number of calls, the average cost per call, and I note that your recommendation is in line with the Select Board's recommendation. So my question for you is two parts. One, did you perform this type of analysis that we did when I was on the advisory committee several years ago? And if so, does your analysis support the number in your recommendation?
We did the same analysis as we normally had done under your chairmanship, and the numbers we came out with were what we came out with. So we thought that it was overestimated slightly as far as what was presented. So that's why the reason it's a little bit less.
You need to pull that microphone right close to you and speak up loudly. There you go.
We use the same procedure as we have in the past under your chairmanship, and the numbers that we were presented, we looked at them, we did our own calculations, and the numbers we came out with are shown under our numbers.
Through you, Mr. Moderator, as a follow-up question, did you discuss your recommendations with Peter before this meeting? He seems a little surprised, and so that's why I ask.
He should not be surprised. We've had numerous conferences with the chief, very amicable. He's met before the Select Board and Advisory Joint Committees. I will categorically state that our process is transparent and that we put a number of hours into all of this, going through numbers rigorously, asking pertinent questions, responding to more information. The numbers we have presented here tonight are what we believe are in the best fiscal interest of the town, and I would be happy to debate that with anyone outside of this meeting or come to an advisory committee meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any further debate to amend fire wages to strike $79,551.84 and insert $88,992? Is there any further debate?
Can the fire chief perhaps explain what what Mr. Clark was just speaking about and respond to it?
Either through you or her, what did she say?
She wants to explain sort of the analysis whether or not you've gone through the analysis that the advisory committee has gone through to sort of, come up with the $88,992, I think is the question.
We did, as the chairman of the advisory board, I put together the same formula using the same variables that Mr. Regan spoke of. The problem that happened is that we saw a spike in calls far and above. If you'd asked me when we started this process in November, if I was looking, if the call volume for the entire year was going to go up 25%, I would not have guessed that at all. So that figure was, we knew it was going to be higher than average, but going forward, no. When I appeared before the Board of Selectmen the other day and the advisory committee the other day to talk about, all right, well, we're going to be short this year, and based on the recommendation that I got in this book today, we're strong possibility that even at this number we may be short. Call volume is still on a target to be slightly higher, from 208 right now on track to do about 212, 214, but it's still more. So that's the moving target. That's the variable. I can't forecast calls. He can't forecast arrests. He can't forecast snowfall. Those four departments, including Chief of Fire, we're at the mercy of that, and it's nothing really on it. And even if somebody were to ask, is there a track of calls or is more, there really isn't. There isn't a rhyme or reason. Every holiday, everybody asks, well, you must have had a lot of calls over Christmas. No, we don't. We have calls and we have calls, so.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you. Any further debate on the motion to strike $79,551.84 from fire wages and insert $88,992? Any further debate on the question?
I just have one further comment. Do I have another 10 seconds, or what is it? How much?
Well, yeah, you got 2 minutes, so.
All right, so basically, I think the point of difference here is, it'll get complicated, but it's more how many training times during the month, and we adjusted that slightly. So that's probably where the difference is. I don't think it's as far as the call volume, but it's probably outside this public discussion as far as it's more down in the weeds. So, but that's basically the difference as far as how much training per month. So, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Holcraft.
Dave Holcraft, yeah. Question to you, Mr. Moderator, and
Yes.
to Peter. You stated 208 calls. Is that fire calls? That's like 17 calls a month. I didn't know we had that many fires in town. Or is that counting car accidents? And I mean, can you put some light on that for me, Peter?
Chief.
So I'm good, but I'm not that good. In 24, 10 building fires, 2 cooking fires, 3 chimney fires, 4 boiler malfunctions, 2 trash fires, 2 vehicle fires, 18 brush fires, 18 rescue/ambulance backup, 49, motor vehicle accidents, 29, false alarms, 18, detector issues, 35, service calls, 12, electrical issues, 13, power line down, 2, flammable gas leak, 2, water search, 1, carbon monoxide issues, 2, combustible liquid spills, 2, hazardous condition other, 3, and mutual aid station coverage, 4.
Okay, thank you.
Wish I could do it off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
thank you.
It's fine. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah.
I support the shift in the fire wages based on the statement from the advisory that the calculation was based off of a reduction in training. I personally am of the opinion, being prior service, understanding the commonality between our military and our emergency responders, we sweat in peacetime so we don't bleed in wartime. If the number that's represented in that budget is based on a reduction in training, I do not support it.
Okay. Any further debate on the motion to raise fire wages to $88,992? All right, and it looks like it's time to get your clickers out. So please get your clickers out and get ready to vote. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted, 7236. Fire wages has been increased to $88,992. Is there anything else on page number 3? All right, looks like we're moving on to page number 4. Does anybody have something that they would like to do with page number 4?
The amount
Please just look at me. Don't turn around.
I'm sorry.
Just talk to me.
The amount for fire fixed asset repair replace was $20,000 in 2025. They requested $32,000 and $20,000 was given. So I would appreciate if the chief would speak to that, please, and what the increased need is for. Is there something we need to replace? And I would appreciate some light on that.
So asset repair and replacement covers basically big things on big things. It covers the annual preventive maintenance on the trucks. It covers significant repairs and, again, replacements. When we do hose testing, if a bunch of hose fails, which it has, we replace it out of there. The truck needs significant work. If I need to buy a better set of wipers, it doesn't come out of there, but it does come out of there. Historically, that account is expended completely no later than by the end of February generally. After that, depending on what it is, we either try to defer, duct tape, redneck it through the rest of the year, or take it out of expense depending on the scale. It's not the fire department fleet of Dorian Gray. It just doesn't age because you don't look at it. It does. So, I mean, our newest truck is coming up on 2 or 3 years old. Our next newest truck, the old new truck, is over a dozen years old now. They get older, stuff gets more expensive to replace. So that's it. The 32 probably would have made it 20. We'll make it work with the fire department. We make everything work. It's just where it comes out in the wash later on. So usually that means, all right, well, we'd really like this taken care of, but we can't because we're out in February. We'll defer it a little bit. I hate the phrase kicking the can down the road, but to some degree it is. Or we take out of expense and we defer something on expense down the road. So, you know, was 12,000 maybe a little high? I really don't think so, because again, we went from 18 to 20 and we went right through the 20 in about the same timeline. Because if you look at inflation and costs and everything else, including supply chain things, and never really recovered from COVID, it's not cheap. So appreciate the concern. We'll make it work. We can make it work a little bit easier if there was more, but if there isn't, there isn't. So.
Okay. Thank you. You have 12 seconds.
Thanks. Is there a reason that number was rejected?
You got 6 seconds to respond. Sorry.
I think the chief just,
So I'm reluctant to really go much further here without some sort of a motion to do something. Okay, because I don't want to waste our time here just talking about something without a question on the floor, okay?
Yeah, so my proposal would be to make a motion if there's not a significant reason that the committee rejected this number, because I'm not familiar with the budget and why it was rejected specifically.
At this point, you either make the motion or we're just going to have to move on.
Okay.
So what do you
I
want to
will
do?
make the motion to raise it to 32.
Okay, a motion has been made to strike, fire fixed asset repair and replace from 20,000 to, what is it, 32,000? Is that what it is? Yeah, okay. Is there a second? Second. Oh, I heard a second come in late. We got a second. We got a motion on the floor to raise fixed asset repair and replace to $32,000. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
Can the board answer the question as to why it was rejected?
So there's a fleet account, a fleet repair account, I'm pretty sure, if the town accountant can weigh in, that he can also expend from. So it does not, it's coming from someplace else.
Through you, Mr. Moderator, we do have a town account that's called Fleet Repair Replace, Fleet Equipment Repair Replace, which we've funded over the last few town meetings. And I'm sure some of you might remember, we've put $25,000 in a few times. It currently has a balance of about $98,000. It's at the purview of the Board of Selectmen to approve. It's for all departments' use for any fleet or equipment repairs and replacements throughout the year. And the money carries over every year because it was done as an article.
Okay. Is there any further debate on the question? And the question is to raise fire fixed asset repair and replace from $20,000 to $32,000. Any further debate? Looks like it's time to get your clickers ready. Get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't already voted, please do so as I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is not adopted. 28 yes, 67 no. Is there anything further on page number 4?
Yes, Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator, given the way we voted on Article 2, I would say that we strike all of the new lines of EMS budget to be addressed in the later warrant articles.
A motion has been made. Thank you. I'm sorry. A motion has been made to strike on page number 4 under EMS department all the lines that are marked new in the furthest left-hand column, as they're going to be addressed later on. Is there a second to the motion? Second. There is a second to the motion. Is there any debate other than we failed to adopt number 2, so now they're going to be addressed in other places, correct?
Correct.
All right. So is there any further debate on this motion? Get your clickers out. Get ready to vote. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted 83 to 8. Is there anything else on page number 4 that we need to address? Seeing none, moving on to page number 5. Is there anything on page number 5 that we need to address? Going once, going twice. Oh, almost made it.
Sorry.
No apologize. Okay, it's your right.
Thank you. Can someone address the increase of 83,000? Is that an increase of?
Which particular line are you
83,000.
talking
I'm sorry. Regional school assessment, and there is an increase of $83,000 for that, which. And I'm wondering if someone could address that. Is that just the year over year? You know, I think I was looking at the numbers. I thought it was 100,000.
Madam
but it's
Superintendent,
million.
can you explain that?
Absolutely. The Tantascwa Regional School District budget, for those who don't know how it gets divided, the total budget year over year is only up 3%. And that was actually after a few reductions to get to that 3%. But then we are driven with state-based formulas to divide that budget by the 5 towns. It's a minimum contribution formula and a Chapter 70 formula.
It's a complex formula.
It is very complex. But as a result, Unfortunately, the 3% budget for for the total budget resulted in a 4.5% share for Brookfield. And that is partly because of their share of enrollment, which is up slightly compared to last year in the total Tantascwa system, and also their share of total students elementary to secondary, which also comes into play.
Okay, so it's number of students and the formulas.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else on page number 5? I hear people turning the page, so let's go ahead and do so. Page number 6. Is there anything on page number 6? Mr. Holcraft.
Could you, I just want some clarification on page 4. You have the building inspector down as a stipend.
Whoa, hold on one second. So we're
And,
going back to page 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Building inspector, is that a stipend or is that a wage? And if it's a stipend, they have him in here for an increase. I don't think it's a stipend, is it? Can someone answer that? I should know that, but.
Going back to page number 4,
Yeah.
the building inspector stipend, the question is it a stipend or is it a wage, I guess? That's the question. Can somebody address that?
We've always treated the building inspector as a monthly salary, not a stipend.
Okay, it says stipend here. That's, okay, that's fine. Thank you.
We probably need to change that, huh? Yeah, good. Make a note for next year. All right, so I think we were on page number 6. Am I correct in that? We page 6? Good. All right. Hello.
Hello. Maureen Leapak. I'd like to make a motion that we adjust the Board of Health clerk wages back to what the Board of Health had requested at $12,868.70. I don't have enough.
Just one second. Can I make sure I got the number right? 12,868.70.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
And the reason is,
Hold on a second. Sorry. Didn't mean to do that to you. Okay, so a motion has been made to strike $8,182.72 on Board of Health clerk wages and insert $12,868.70. Is there a second? Second. There is a second. Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so the reason is I understand the premise around what they were trying to do with the cuts, but we're already have cut, and before we're not able to even pay the current clerk based on the number that was proposed. It's a little less than what I've already hired her to work. And then obviously we just have a lot of work in the Board of Health, a lot of the work I do as a volunteer, but it's just not sustainable for me to do it forever. And so we'd like to have more of that shifted to the clerk. We have a good clerk now. We just hired a new clerk, and so I just hope that folks support her in putting back the wages to what we had requested, which is a little bit of a compromise from what the advisory committee had said. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any further debate? She was standing in line.
sorry.
Oh, you're not? Not for that one.
Okay. Can I
Right,
just,
Jeff, go ahead.
Maureen, excuse me. You're saying that you don't want to accept the 2% increase? Is that what you're saying? Because what we had recommended is higher than what your level funded would be.
That is true. I just hired someone at the same rate. I don't need to increase it.
So the answer is no. Any further debate on the question to increase the Board of Health clerk wages from $8,182.32 to $12,868.70? Any further discussion on the motion? It's about time to get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't voted already, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion has been adopted, 55 to 33. Board of Health clerk wages have been increased to $12,868.70. Is there anything else on page number 6 or any other page?
Page 6.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion on the administrative assistant highway department secretary, or whatever you want to call that position. But I'd like to get the highway super up here and see what his thoughts are. I'm looking at 16 hours a week. How much clerical work is there down there at that highway department? 16 hours. We have our executive secretary, Karen. She's doing what, 3240? I mean, and we're only talking about the highway department, and she's doing the whole town. What's being done for 16 hours on paperwork? And I'd like to get the. So I'm making a motion to 12,000 to reduce it to 12,000 based on 8 hours. I mean, we got to keep a secretary down there, but.
Okay, so what's the number you want? $12,000?
Correct.
Okay, so.
But I want to get Kyle down here. If you could get Kyle to speak on that.
Yeah, I just want to get the motion on the floor and see what happens. How's that work?
Thank
He
you.
can still answer the question if you want, but let's just get the motion on the floor. We want to strike $24,610.56 from Highway Office Administrative Assistant to $12,000. Is there a second? Second. There's a second. Okay, so there was a request for the highway superintendent to come and sort of explain things.
Mr. Moderator, Kyle Rakowski, Highway Superintendent.
Kyle.
I can comfortably, confidently say that the tasks associated with the business administrator down at the Highway Department can be effectively done in 8 to 10 hours a week.
8 to 10 hours a week. That's the answer. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we got a motion before us to lower the Highway Office Administrative Assistant wage, well, I suppose it's a wage, $24,610.56 to $12,000. Is there any further debate on the motion? It's time to get your clickers ready. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't voted already, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted, 58 to 26. So the Highway Office Administrative Assistant's wages are now $12,000. Anything else on page number 6?
Can the highway superintendent please explain the wage increase? 2024, $73,000, 2025, $81,000, 2026, $90,000. It's an increase of about 11% per year, which is significant, in my opinion, for a percentage increase in wages. So could you please speak to that? Thank you.
One moment before you go away. What line was that?
The highway superintendent wages.
Highway superintendent wages, which is currently at $91,800, and you want to know why it, so I think went down.
The year-over-year
year-over-year
increase of 12%.
Okay. Town administrator is willing to answer the question. Highway superintendent, I suppose that's okay with you, as he's okay with that. Town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I can address the increase to the 91,000. That was per negotiations with Mr. Rakowski upon being hired. The reason and the rationale behind myself and the select board of that increase is because of the qualifications that Mr. Rakowski brought to the job. As far as the previous year, that was negotiated before my time, but I believe the rationale was very similar. As the as you get better talent and more experienced talent, you have to pay. This is a very, very complex job. There's many, many different hats that Mr. Rakowski has to wear, and frankly, he does a tremendous job at it.
And so you're saying Mr. Rakowski is the new highway superintendent?
Correct. He was hired just back in February.
Okay. Okay. And then in terms of the operator wages going down, can you speak to that? One of the things that I've seen an issue about is, and other people who have experienced this can probably speak to it better, are the issues on Gay Road, I think it's called, and people have been very upset about not having signage posted, not having information. I've also called myself, the highway administration, for 2 issues on Town Farm Road. They were very sweet, very kind, but they have not come and addressed the issues. This was months ago that I called in December.
Okay, so we really need to, you need to get to something here.
Yes,
So what's the question?
Would you please address the highway operator wages decreasing and how we are functioning as a community with these issues on Gay Road and some of the other issues, having the response from the highway department?
Okay. You have a response to...
I will respond.
Okay. Ron's going to do it. Okay, sorry.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'll respond specifically to the reduction. Pretty much what happened is we went from 4 employees down at Highway to 3, and the reason we could utilize 3 is that the folks that Mr. Rakowski has hired are exceptional. They're very experienced, they're very well-rounded, they're hardworking, and once again, myself, Mr. Rakowski, and the Select Board, as well as the Advisory Committee, we all believe that the personnel that he has in place currently right now are able to perform all the responsibilities for the Highway Department.
Okay. Your time's up. So hang on just a little bit. That was your time. So is there anybody else that wishes to debate? We don't even have a motion on the floor. So, let's move on here. We're either going to make a motion to do something or we're going to move along. Anything else on page number 6? Okay, going to page number 7. My apologies if I sounded a little testy there. I didn't really mean to do that, so my apologies. Number 7, page number 7. Is there anything on page number 7 that anybody wants to do something with? Okay, looking like we're all done there. Page number 8. Oh man, we are so close. Yay. Okay, but we do have time here. Okay, so I'm kidding. Yes, Mr. Chafee. You need to turn your microphone on or something.
I have a question on number 8.
Okay.
We were going to put additional principal and split the amount from the fire truck and 18 Common Street, put additional principal, a one-time principal payment. But now that the votes have gone the way they have, the amount's going to change significantly. So I need a minute to meet with the town accountant.
Okay. You talk that over with town accountant. We'll kind of hang on to this for a little bit, and we'll sort of get back. Is there anything else on page number 8? Anything else? Going once, going twice, and now my favorite page, number 9, which only has like 2 lines on it. Anything on page number 9? Anything at all? Okay. I think they need a few more moments. We really can't do anything else until we address this. Okay. All right. So then, has town accountant got a number for me? We're done. Yay. Yay. Like done. Budget done. Yay.
No, we're still going to go. She said,
I just need a final number of how we amended things, so that's all we're waiting for, and then we can get a final vote.
No, he did not work in the after. This is was
Yeah,
the extra debt.
I like it.
You need to make a motion
Yeah,
for the debt.
I will.
Thank you. All right. All right. So we have amended the budget from the $11,061,824.32 to $10,733,243.75. I'll repeat that one more time. We've gone from 11 million to $10,733,243.75. So we're now voting on the final budget. That is the final number. Any other comments or debate? We've got a second from town administrator. In the meantime, Mr. Holdcraft, you have a comment.
tell us how we got to the new figure?
Hang on one moment. We'll try and get that for you. Can you tell us? Well, it's by the amendments that we just adopted. That's how we got there. Okay? So we went through page by page, we made some changes and did some stuff, and that's what we came to. So we've got a lower budget. Yay. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that. Okay. Is there any town administrator, do we got anything else? We're good to go?
Yep.
Oh, we're waiting. Okay, we're waiting. Okay, maybe we need to check our numbers here. Hang on, Mr. Cook.
Well, I have a number of questions. So.
Yeah, hang on one second. We're good? We're good? Are we good?
We're good to go.
Okay, well, you better hope so. All right, Mr. Cook.
My question is after we get the, where do we stand in terms of the levy limit?
We got levy limit if we adopt this?
Through you, Mr. Moderator, I can't give you an exact number because I didn't calculate that, but we started, once we switched the ambulance, at 254,000. With all of these amendments, we're probably in the neighborhood of about 200,000 now. Maybe 190, somewhere there.
Okay. Well, Mr. Cook is happy. I think we can all be happy. Sorry, Mr. Cook, that was not fair for me. That was not fair. I'm sorry. My apologies. All right. So is there any further debate on the big budget? Mr.
Well,
Chafee?
not on the big budget, but I'd like to get on the
You'd like to do what?
alternative.
What's
The
that?
alternative line item here.
So-
I'm going to make a motion.
Hang on one second. Oh, my butt.
Right.
Okay, so not quite there yet, folks. Mr. Chafee, you wanna do something, and it's I think it's in the budget, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
No, it's not.
It's free cash.
Free cash.
Okay, but I need to know what you want to do.
Okay, you ready?
No, not really. So I think you had some questions about some debt. Isn't that correct? And I think it's on page number 8, and it's the fire truck principal and 18 Common Street principal. Is that correct?
No.
It-
No,
it-
it's not,
it-
no, it's not coming out of the general expense. It's
That's the
coming out of free
general.
cash.
This is out of free cash.
How is that in the budget?
So we're just gonna add 70,000 to each of those lines, and we're gonna change.
He's amending the motion for Article 3.
I get that. I need to know how we're going to amend it. That's what I need to know.
Mr. Moderator, I move that an additional sum of $70,000 be transferred from free cash out of account 001, to account 001-710-5914-000. Police station principal in the budget, and an additional sum of $70,000 to be transferred from free cash to, I'm just going to do the last three, of 002 account. Unless you want the whole thing in the budget.
No,
All right,
no.
all right,
I'll read that.
001.
Good. No, you don't need to do that. Okay, so what you are doing here is you want to amend the budget. The that an additional sum of $70,000 be transferred from free cash to account number 001-710-5914-000.
Yep.
I just want
And-
to see it. Police, hang on. Be transferred, okay, so be transferred from free cash to account 000, police station principal in the budget, and that an additional sum of $70,000 be transferred from free cash to account number 001-710-5910-002, fire truck principal in the budget for purposes of paying down the loan principal. So is this whole thing 140,000 bucks?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so everybody understand where there's lines in the budget this is addressing, and the lines are those big, long numbers, okay? And so we want to take some free cash and pay down some debt. So that, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
There's a second to the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion?
How much money do we have, through the moderator, how much money do we have now in free cash? So, and what will be left after taxes?
So, free cash, how much money?
Through you, Mr. Moderator, currently we have a balance of $634,501.93.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion for an additional sum of $70,000? There's debate. Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Moderator,
Yeah.
the question is to the accountant. With regards to the free cash balance, how much, setting aside Mr. Chafee's motion for the moment, you mentioned we had a 600. No, just for my consideration, for the number I'm asking her to calculate. I'm not asking you to set it aside procedurally, sir. So we had $630,000, or we have $630,000 of free cash about now. If every free cash motion in the warrant article were passed tonight, how much free cash would be left?
Through you, Mr. Moderator, are you asking to include Mr. Chafee's motion?
Yes, please include Ms. Chafee's motion.
If everything passes tonight that is motioned from free cash, we will have a balance of $12,093.
All right. So thank you. So I will interpret that as Mr. Chafee's motion will be using the majority of what was left of free cash after what was planned in our motions. Okay.
Is that it?
And then I guess the question I have for Mr. Chafee is, why?
I'll tell you why. Because we've been financing the police department for 10 years, and then we refinanced it again for 15 years. So now it went from basically we were getting a loan annually because we couldn't get a long-term loan. So now we're paying for 25 years. So I'm looking to pay down the debt as soon as possible.
Okay.
And so through you, Mr. Moderator, one final question. So would this money be in addition to the money that's already in the budget, or would this? Okay.
This is going to increase the budget.
This is going to increase the. Okay. Thank you. That is what I want to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
And just so you know, it's a principal payment only, a one-time principal payment, no interest.
All right. So we got a motion before us that I've read and the important people have, namely, we got.
Yeah, I just got a question now. Okay, now how does that work? And if we've allocated money for the police station before we pay this off, how does that balance out? Because we allocated money in the budget, right, to make the payment?
Through you, Mr. Moderator, we allocated in the budget the minimum payment that we have to make for the principal and interest payments.
And how much is that?
Isn't it the $25,083?
I think that's interest only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Currently, for the fire truck principal, we had allocated $25,083. For the fire truck interest, $20,692. For the police station principal, $35,900. And for the police station interest, $29,615. But what I will say is it's a multi-purpose one municipal loan, so both items are financed in one loan. So when we make an additional principal payment, we do have to make them equally.
Right, but now we're not gonna be making the payment with that money, right? Because you're,
So we're still gonna make our regularly scheduled payment for the year, and we're gonna make an additional principal payment, which will come off the end of the loan. So when we hit year, 12 or 13, we shouldn't have any more payments to make, which will lessen the interest available on the loan.
but will that give us more money in the budget now?
Right now, no.
No, okay.
Okay. Okay, so we got a motion on the floor to add two $70,000 increments for principal payments. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to make the statement, I support this because when we took out the loan for 15 years, there was discussion, though not necessarily formally documented, that our goal was to pay it off in 10. This would assist us in that goal, but we took the 15-year term so that if there was a year where we were tight to our levy limit or to our raise and appropriate limit, that we would have the option to only pay the required amount.
Okay. We have a motion for an additional sum of $70,000 be transferred from free cash to account number 001-710-5914-000 Police Station Principal in the budget, and that an additional sum of $70,000 be transferred from free cash to account number 001-710-5910-002 Fire Truck Principal in the budget for the purposes of paying down the loan principal. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Please get your clickers out. The polls are now open. If you haven't voted yet, please do so. I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted 87-5. We now need a new number. Thank you very much, Town Accountant. Okay, let's see here. Could you explain this to me? Just come on around the thing. Come on right up here, because I don't understand it. So this is the bottom line. Yep. This is raising appropriate, and that's free cash. So thinking about that process. All right. So, what we have before us, because of the amendments that we just, made, we have a total amount of $10,873,243.75, of which we are going to raise and appropriate $10,733,243.75, and transfer from free cash $140,000. Okay, everybody understand what the motion is? Okay, so we got a total amount. Okay, so get your clickers out. If you're ready to vote, the polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't voted already, please do so. I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted, 80-4. We have a budget. Amen. Thank you. All right. I wish we were all done, but we are not. So we are now on to article number, I think it's number 4.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town transfer $389.98 from free cash to fund a prior year invoices from Board of Health stipend for Kim Simons and Spectrum Public Access Cable.
Motion has been made that the town transfer $389.98 from free cash to fund prior year invoices for Board of Health stipend for Kim Simmons and Spectrum Public Access Cable. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Thank goodness. Okay, we need is there any debate? Before we go down that road, this takes a 4/5 vote. It's a high vote, just want to let you know, because we're paying last year's bills. Is there any further debate on this motion? Hearing none, get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted 68 to 7. Article number 5. Do I got a motion for article number 5?
I move that the town transfer $40,000 from the water department water surplus account to the water department water system capital expense account.
Motion has been made to transfer $40,000 from the Water Department Water Surplus Account to the Water Department Water System Capital Expense Account. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion on the motion? Get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted 79 to 1. Article number 6.
I move that the town transfer $61,700 from the ambulance receipt reserved fund to fund the fiscal 2026 ambulance expense account.
A motion has been made to see if the town will transfer $61,700 from the ambulance receipts account. I'll be right there. Sorry, couldn't help it. Okay, so the motion is to see if the town will transfer $61,700 from the ambulance receipts reserved fund to fund the fiscal year 2026 ambulance expense account. Is there a second? Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted 70 to 4. Article number 7.
I move that the town transfer $280,500 from the ambulance receipt reserved fund to fund the fiscal 2026 ambulance wages account.
A motion has been made to transfer $280,000 from the ambulance receipts reserve fund to fund the fiscal year 2026 ambulance wages account. Is there a second?
$280,500. Sorry.
$280,500.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a second. Is there any discussion on the motion to transfer $280,500 from the ambulance receipts reserve fund to fund fiscal 2026 ambulance wages account? Is there any discussion? Get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted 78 to 5. Article number 8.
I move that the town transfer $14,320.80 from the ambulance receipts reserved fund to fund the fiscal year 2026 EMS chief salary account.
The motion is to transfer $14,320.80 from the ambulance receipts reserve fund to fund fiscal year 2026 EMS chief salary account. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Moderator, this says that it is sponsored by the emergency squad. I'd like an explanation, and what does it do?
Could someone from the emergency squad explain what this does?
Chief LaFleur, it wasn't sponsored by us, but that is the number that we wanted for the salary.
Okay.
Someone just submitted it for us.
Okay. It's to fund the EMS chief salary. Okay, we good? Any further discussion? Okay, get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted, 69 to 9. We're going to transfer $14,320.80 from the ambulance receipts reserve fund to fund the fiscal year 2026 EMS chief salary account. Article number 9. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Moderator.
Turn your microphone on or speak into the microphone.
Can I interrupt real quick with a question?
No, I want
Procedure-
to get a motion on the floor. Sorry, I got to get a motion on the floor.
Well, it's about procedurally block voting as we had in the past, unless we have a bunch of edits to make on each of these articles.
Tell me what you want to do. Tell me what you want to do. What do you want to do?
If we don't have edits on a bunch of these and go page by page and block vote,
Yeah, right. Which ones do you want to
Oh,
take as a
jeez.
block?
unless you guys,
Tell us what you want to do, and then they'll tell us whether or not they like the idea or not.
where are we now, 9?
We're on 9.
Make 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 as a block vote?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
I can read it as a single motion if you want.
Wait a second. Are we sort of okay with that? I don't have a dollar amount for article number 9.
I have $4,200.
$4,200? Town council, looks like you're okay with this. 1 to 14?
How far do you want to go?
I don't know. I don't know what you guys have edits on for any of these.
Okay, so you want to go to all the way to Article 14?
I would do as many as we can with it.
Okay, hold on. I'm game for this.
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to do. So what he's trying to do for everybody that's sort of just listening, he's trying to bunch all these things together if we're not going to have any real significant changes. So I'm going to give you whatever the list is that they give me. I'm going to give you that, and I'm going to give you a few moments to look at that list to find out if you like or don't like any of those things. And what I'd like to do is, if there is one of those articles that you do not like in there, just say, I don't want that article in there, we'll take it out and do all the rest, and then we'll come back and visit yours. Does that make sense to everybody? Is that good? Oh, okay, well, your page is not my page. Give me the article numbers. Article
Mr.
9 to 19. Okay, so Article 9's got $4,200. Article 10 has got $20,824. Article 11 has $35,000 to do stuff. 12 is $9,000. 13 is $25,000. 14 is $1,200. Number 15 is $15,000. Article 16 is $5,000. Article 17 is $12,000. Article 18 is $4,899. And 19 is $175,000. All these got a lot of desperate things here. So I'm going to give you a few moments to look through them. The process here is, if you have any questions on any one of these 9 through... first of all, do I have... So I got a motion to take all of these as a block. Is there a second? Okay, we got a second. We got the motion on. Good. Okay, so I want you to look those over real quick while I talk to town council here for a moment, and let me know if there's any article that you do not want in this block. If there is an article you do not want in this block, tell me what the article number is. We'll take it out and vote on the rest, okay?
What number?
What is she questioning?
What article is that, Donna? What?
One mold and chemical remediation purifier at 27. Your fiscal 99 and one industrial for 2,100. That's 2 units.
But there were 2 of each.
Your number is 40. What's your number? 4899.
Right, that's the number that was for, the select board changed it after we voted, which is, why is it, it's not even similar, 2 of each, which is what was presented to us originally. So I found that 1 is enough, and the same, it's fine, it's equally, you can access.
So here's what happened. Actually, this was put together by Jacob. Let's get Jacob.
Oh, it was computer related?
So it's pulled out of 19.
Okay, I've got to
Okay.
do something before we're going to you. Okay, so after discussion with town council, yeah, I know your question now. I'm going to cheat here, Mr. Chafee. So we want to pull out, someone wants to pull out motions 9 and 10 because they're sort of different. We're transferring money from one account to another as opposed to, and that's 9 and 10. So we want to pull those out and we want to vote on those separately. And then or first we're going to vote on the remaining 11 through 19 because they're just transfers to from free cash. Okay. And then we're going to come back and vote on 9 and 10. Is everybody with me on this? Yeah, he's working on it. He's working on it, and I've said it. What that screen says doesn't matter for squat. It's what I say. Okay, you got what I'm saying here? Okay, and he's doing a great job, by the way. He's doing a great job. So everybody understand what we're doing? Okay, so you wanna
I'd like to pull out 19, but get more information about it.
you'd like to pull out 19.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're pulling out 9 and 10. We're going to do those separately, and we're going to pull out 19 and do that one separately. Anybody else? Thank you for that. That was really good. You reminded me. We needed to do that. Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so what we're now going to do is vote on Articles 11 through 18 as a block. Okay? And this is all being transferred from free cash. So 11 is $35,000 for free cash for fire protective equipment for the fire department, $9,000 from free cash for painting the roads, $25,000 for free cash to fund road construction, reconstruction account. Oh, I hate that account. The next Article 14 is $1,200 for free cash to purchase personal safety equipment for the highway department. 15 is $15,000 from free cash to purchase necessary IT equipment and upgrade IT infrastructure at the fire department, library, and highway department. Article 16 is $5,000 from free cash for the town website upgrade project. Article 17 is $12,000 from free cash to purchase new computers and for the police department and 3 new laptops for the cruisers. And Article 18 is a motion for $4,899 in free cash to fund a dehumidifier and mold remediation air purifier for the town hall basement.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town.
You don't need to make a motion.
I don't.
We're all done.
Okay.
Okay. That's the motion has already been made as a block. We've pulled out 3 articles. The remaining articles in our motion I just read to you. Okay? Does anybody want to take any of those articles, 11 through 18, out of this block? Okay, everybody understand, we're voting on these things as a block. So if you vote yes, you're voting for all those transfers from free cash into all the stuff that all that money is going to do. Is there a question?
Did you get a second?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard one. Everybody heard one, right? Okay. Get your clickers out. As a block, we are voting on Articles 11 through 18. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. Articles 11 through 18 have been adopted on a vote of 72 to 1. We are now back to, I'm going to take these as a block together, Articles 9 and Articles 10. Okay, and those articles are to transfer, Article 9, transfer $4,200 from ambulance receipts reserve fund to fund the fiscal year 2025 wages account, or to do that. Okay, and then Article number 10 is to transfer balances totaling $20,824 from stale accounts as listed in Article 10 on the annotated warrant to the general fund. You don't need I guess, no, we don't, because we already pulled it out, so we're good. We don't need seconds on any of these things. We already pulled them out. So is there any discussion on those? There is. 9 and 10. Articles 9 and 10?
Mr. Moderator, through you, the Article 9 says the number will be provided at town meeting, but I did not hear a number mentioned.
$4,200.
Thank you.
Quick question, moderator.
Why are we taking $944.90 from the police vest grant?
Through you, Mr. Moderator.
One moment.
Yep.
We're on Articles 9 and 10.
That's 10.
Oh, is that number 10?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, okay, sorry. Go
That's
ahead.
okay. Through you, Mr. Moderator, that's actually a deficit in that account of $944.90. It's been there since prior to fiscal year 19. It was the unreimbursed half of the federal police vest grant account.
Does that answer your question? Good.
Mr. Moderator, number, Article 9 says this is for funding fiscal 2025. Is that really true?
Is that really true?
Through you, Mr. Moderator, that is the deficit planned for the fiscal year 2025 wages. Yes.
It's true. Mr. Taft, when I read that number, I thought, something's a little funny there. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else on 9 and 10? All right. Get your clickers ready. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so as I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. Articles 9 and 10 have been adopted on a vote of 64 to 5. We are now out to Article 19, and which is to transfer $175,000 from free cash to fund 3 months health insurance premiums to buy in to the Hampshire County Insurance Trust. There was a question or a desire to sort of an explanation. You just want an explanation of what that's about? Could somebody provide an explanation of what this is about? Town Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Yes, this is a direct result of the town switching its health insurance provider from Maya to the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. That particular move saved the town approximately $135,000 in our fiscal year 26 budget. But part of the process of switching, some people might refer to it as a buy-in. Technically, it's really not a buy-in. What the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust requires is 3 months premium to be set aside almost like as a reserve account as we begin our tenure in that group insurance trust. That amount is going to probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000. And what is suggested here, and it can be spread out over 2 years, and that's exactly what the town is going to do. But seeing as we did have an inordinate amount of free cash this year, we felt it was in the best interest to, for lack of a better term, overpay in year one, just in case we don't have a similar amount of free cash next year. It'll be a much lesser amount, and we could still satisfy that premium.
Did I explain it? Good. All right. We're on Article 19. That is to transfer $175,000 free cash to fund 3 months health insurance premiums to buy in to the Hampshire County Insurance Trust. Any further debate? Get your clickers ready. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't already voted, please do so as I am about to close the polls. The poll is now closed. The motion is adopted 67 to 2. We are now on, I believe, Article number 20.
I move that the town transfer $200,000 from free cash to the Brookfield Elementary School Roof Stabilization Fund.
Motion has been made to transfer $200,000 from free cash to Brookfield Elementary School Roof Stabilization Fund. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second to the motion. Is there any debate or discussion on the motion?
Mr. Moderator, I just have a question.
Yeah.
20 years ago, when I was on the school committee, we had a fund. It was funded to school choice monies, and we covered the expenses for the roof from that. Is that in that fund, or are any of those monies contributing to this project? Do you know?
Town administrator?
Yes and no. In this particular article, no. But we have had recent estimates, as recent as last summer, to replace the roof would cost anywhere between $900 and $1.3 million. Currently, we have approximately $650,000 set aside in a roof reserve fund. This would bring that amount up to $850. In discussions with the schools and Superintendent Boyd in particular, she did indicate that yes, the school will definitely have skin in the game. Whether or not it comes from school choice or some other funds is unknown to, at least to me, unless.
Well, it's just the point of history for you. Unless they've changed things over there, they should have some money set aside in fund. That was the original intent of that money, because I was on the board that got it, was to put it into a kitty to cover expenses like this. So I would check with Superintendent Boyd.
Will do.
Okay. Any further discussion on this motion? We have some.
Nikki Chafee, 29 Fisdale Road, also president of the Elementary School Board Committee. So we do have free cash.
Please just speak into the microphone.
apologize.
That's okay.
Bad habits. We do have free cash funding that we have used and we've been using. We've been allocating funds appropriately for patchworks, trying to assemble and touch up as needed. This would allow us to be able to do a full membrane and work that we don't have available.
Okay. We got a motion before us to transfer $200,000 from free cash to the Brookfield Elementary School Roof Stabilization Fund. Any further discussion? Mr. Holcraft.
Could someone tell me what we have in school choice money, Laurie? That's what school choice is for, to go back into the building. And every year we get a good chunk of money. They should be putting that aside for when something like this happens. I mean, of course, we have to help out too a little bit on something like this, but.
So through you, Mr. Moderator, the current balance in school choice is $698,102. And they do submit bills and payroll regularly through this account. So far this year, they've spent over $80,000.
What are they using it for? Does it show there?
I don't have their register with me, but they submit payroll regularly through it, and they also submit capital expenses. I believe they just did siding, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's fine, yeah, but they should not be using that money for paying a payroll.
They use a small amount for it. They split their payroll.
Just want to make sure that we stay on the roof. $200,000 to roof stabilization.
We're staying on it all right.
Okay. Anything further? Any further discussion? We want to transfer $200,000 from free cash to the Brookfield Elementary School Roof Stabilization Fund. Any further debate? Please get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't already done so, please vote. I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted 59 to 13. Article number 22. I don't think there's a motion here, so I'm going on to article number 23.
Go down to 21.
Oh, did I skip one? Ah, shame on me. Thank you. That's a point of order.
Okay.
Well taken. Well taken, Mr. Holcraft. All right, sorry about that. So, Article 21, what do we got?
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town amend the charge of the Board of Trustees as written in Article 21 in the annotated warrant.
A motion has been made that the town amend the charge of the Board of Library Trustees as written in Article 21 in the annotated warrant. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Okay, is there any discussion on this motion?
Yes. I want some serious clarification of what this actually means. I mean, it sounds like they're going to take full charge and do what they want with those buildings without the townspeople having a say in it. I need someone to read this. Maybe I'm not reading it properly, but I need clarification from somebody, whoever presented this.
So you're worried that they're going to be able to just do anything with the building?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not clear. I want to know exactly what they're saying here and what's going to happen if we vote this in
All right.
and what
Can
we
anybody-
can't do.
Can anybody answer his question? Oh, the library director, I think, is on her way up. You're more than welcome to chime in.
Brenda Medeville, Library Director. We are just updating our charter that was established in
You're right close to the microphone.
1860.
Move up to the microphone. There you go.
18.
That's good.
Is that better?
Yeah, people can't hear you. That's the problem.
Okay. We're just updating our charter that was established in 1867. Every time there was a change, we had to add the language. So that's what we're doing. We're adding library annex and museum to our charter. We've had charge of expenses and paying the bills for both the properties since we were leasing it.
Okay.
That's all it does. It's no money. It's just changing words, adding words.
All right.
Okay, there's no money tonight. Okay, now is this giving them the powers to come back later and say, hey, we want $200,000 to redo something in the building to override past the town voters? I just want to know myself the clarification here.
Mr. Moderator, through you.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Moderator, functionally, this changes nothing. They always had the capability to come to town meeting and request budget, and the town meeting has the ability to say yay or say nay. It really functionally changes nothing. It just puts on paper that the construct of that annex being a portion of the library trustee's responsibility.
Okay. So your time's up. Sorry. Wait. So you got two speeches. So let's just see if there's anybody else that wants to make a comment. Did you want to make a? You're good. Anybody else want to debate the question here, which is to amend the charge of the Board of Library Trustees as written in Article 21 in the annotated warrant? Any further debate or discussion? Please get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already done so, please vote. I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion has been adopted, 61 to 8. Article number 22. It looks like we may not have a motion. Is there any motion here? Is somebody going to, no motion? We're good. Article number 20, I think we're on 23, correct? What do we got? 23.
Mr. Moderator.
Yeah.
I move that the town transfer $50,000 from the Cable PEG Access Receipt Reserve Fund to the PEG Cable Access Operating Account for the purpose of funding cable-related costs, upgrades, expenses, fees, payroll, and a general oversight of public access cable for fiscal year 2026.
Before I do any more, could you ladies down back please either take your conversation outside or so that we can sort of get at it? It's just a distracting for me. Okay, there's been a motion that is made to see if the town will transfer $50,000 from cable PEG access receipts reserve fund to PEG cable access operating account for the purposes of funding cable related costs, upgrades, expenses, fees, payrolls, and general oversight of public access cable for fiscal year 2026. Is there a second? There's a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't already done so, please vote. I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion has been adopted, 61-6. Article number 24.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
I move that the town accept the provisions of General Law, Chapter 44, Section 54B, to allow town trust funds to be invested in accordance with General Law, Chapter 203C, the so-called prudent investment rule.
Motion has been made to see if the town will accept the provisions of General Law, Chapter 44, Section 54B, to allow town trust funds to be invested in accordance with General Law, Chapter 203C, the so-called prudent investment rule. Is there a second? Is there any discussion on the motion? Please get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't already done so, please vote. I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted, 62-8. Article number 25. Yes, Mike on.
Mr. Moderator, lost my spot here. Yep, 25. Mr.
25.
Moderator, I move that the town set the FY 2026 spending limits for the revolving funds authorized pursuant to Chapter 5 Financial Affairs, Section 8 of the town's general bylaws as printed in Article 25 of the annotated warrant.
A motion has been made that the town set the fiscal year 2026 spending limits for the revolving funds authorized pursuant to Chapter 5 Financial Affairs, Section 8 of the town's general bylaws as printed in Article 25 of the annotated warrant. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Silence cell phones, please. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? Please get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please vote. I'm about to close the polls. And the polls are now closed. The motion has been adopted, 65-3. Article number 26.
I move that the town accept the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5N, as printed in Article 26 of the annotated warrant.
A motion has been made that the town accept the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5N, as printed in Article 26 of the annotated warrant. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Please get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you haven't already done so, please vote. I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted, 67-0. Article number 27.
I move the town accept the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5K, as printed in Article 27 of the annotated warrant.
Motion has been made that the town accept the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5K, as printed in Article 27 of the annotated warrant. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already done so, please vote. I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion has been adopted, 67-1. Article number 28.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town accept the provision of Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 56, as printed in Article 28 of the annotated warrant.
A motion has been made that the town accept the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 56, as printed in Article 28 of the annotated warrant. Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Please get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already done so, please vote. I'm about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is adopted, 64-2. Article number 30. Is there a motion for what? Did I miss 29? Jeez. I'm getting ahead of myself. Article number 29, my apologies.
I move that the town adopt a bylaw to replace chapter, I don't even know, miscellaneous bylaw, section 1, motor vehicles as printed in Article 29 of the annotated warrant.
A motion has been made that the town adopt a bylaw to replace Chapter 12, miscellaneous bylaw, Section 1, inoperable or motor vehicles, as printed in Article 29 of the annotated warrant. Is there a second? Second. There is a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yeah,
Mr.
Dave
Holcraft.
Holcraft, who presented this article?
It was sponsored by the town administrator.
What prompted you to, we have enough laws, regulations, and everything else in this town. I think we're doing just quite fine. So what prompted you to bring this forward to the town's body tonight?
Please, if you want to speak, please come to the
Okay,
microphone,
then-
and I'd be
then
glad to
Jeff can-
recognize you and
yeah.
have you speak to it. Mr. Town Administrator, you can answer the question, please.
Shut me off on my time.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Yes, the town.
Whoa, just wait, he's talking.
The town does in fact have an unregistered vehicle bylaw, but we do have instances where, I believe we're about to hear about them, where it is unclear, where even town council will admit that it was unclear and can be interpreted in different ways. And what we're seeing here in this particular warrant article is for lack of a better term, a cleaning up and clarifying of the unregistered vehicles with regards to not only identifying how they can be, how fines and citations can be brought forward, but also if there's dollar amounts, how they're incremented. So it's a much cleaner unregistered vehicle bylaw.
Okay. Sir.
Yes, Mr. Moderator, I was the one that submitted this, and I have a junkyard across the street from my house, and it's been there for years, and I'm sick of it. And everybody I talk to can't do nothing because, like he just said, the bill wouldn't take care of nothing. So I revamped the bill, and I submitted it. So it came from me.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other further discussion? Mr. Holcraft, wait, there's a couple other people coming.
Hello again. I am understand that makes sense. If you have a junkyard in front of you, you certainly wouldn't want that. But I also, as someone who bought a property and has 9 acres, I want to be able to put something on my property. And while I fully support some regulation of that, I think this sounds very punitive. And it sounds like there's a lot of fees and a lot of hidden things so that it doesn't allow us residents who are paying, I pay $11,000 a year in taxes, and it doesn't allow us residents who are already paying so much in taxes to do something on our own property. And I think adding further restrictions to the restrictions we already have, while I live far back from the road and I am covered by trees, so you wouldn't be able to see my things from the road, but they would be on my property. And so I understand we don't want things to be an eyesore, but I also understand that we pay a lot in taxes and it's burdensome for people. And adding more fees to that, adding more regulation to that is difficult and more burdensome. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Reagan.
Mr. Moderator, through you to the town administrator, when reading this, could not figure out what is changing in the law. Could you break that down for us, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Yes, basically, it's not more restrictive. You still will be allowed to have one unregistered vehicle on your property. That's the existing bylaw. That is the proposed new bylaw. What the proposed new bylaw is doing is identifying that each vehicle, if you had, let's for example, say you had 10 unregistered vehicles, that each vehicle above and beyond the one could be issued a citation. And as such, a fine, at that point, an escalating fine schedule could be addressed to that. Whereas in the current unregistered vehicle bylaw, it's very unclear if you have one extra unregistered vehicle on your property or 100, is that one instance or is that 99 instances? It's very unclear the way the current bylaw is written. The new bylaw clarifies it so that each vehicle can be considered a citable offense.
And so just to follow up, the rules on what constitutes an unregistered vehicle that is what qualifies as a violation does not change. The number of violations that the new rule allows is different. It's the number of violations that's, right?
24 seconds. Go ahead.
That is correct. Each unregistered vehicle can be its own citable vehicle. So if you, in my example, if you have 100 on your property that are unregistered, you could be cited 99 times.
Right. Thank you.
All right, I'm totally against this. This is a nice country town, and I think Jeff does not have a junkyard next to his house. It's a garage. It's the old McCarthy Bus Company right up here, and there's 4, 5, 6 cars. I don't know if it's commercial or not. It even says trailers in here. I mean, how many laws and regulations are we going to have in this little town? I mean, this is just ridiculous. And we do pay high taxes. Now, if somebody's got setting a couple cars aside for their kids when they get ready to go to college, you're going to go out, and they're good cars, but they're not registered yet because they haven't gone to college or whatever, or when they're getting ready to get their license, you're going to tag them too because they have 2 cars in their driveway, but they're nice cars. I mean, vote no on this. That's what I say.
Herb Chafee. What happens if the guy decides to get rid of all the cars and decides to bring in a bunch of equipment and park it in the front yard? It's not junk vehicles, or unregistered vehicles. It's all equipment that may be falling apart. It's going to be the same thing.
Okay.
Right now, I have an abandoned garage across the street from my house. Those vehicles have been there for over 10 years. They're not just somebody's using them. They're not just running. They're junk. And just like everything else that's in that yard. There's got to be over 30 tires there. There's everything else. This law needs to be changed so that people can get fined, so that they can know what the officer can do and what he can't do. Right now, it's not black and white. It's oblivious. It needs to be changed so that people can do the right thing in this town. And you're not doing anything that you're not already going to do anyway. You can only have one unregistered vehicle on your yard. That's all we're saying now. One unregistered vehicle. Nothing different.
Okay. Any further discussion?
One final comment. I would just follow up to say it's really difficult when people are not allowed to do basic things that don't affect others on their own property. So I'm not burning chemicals and lighting fires, and I don't have any. I have one vehicle. It's registered. That's it. But I have heard about this and I've seen many people with different vehicles on their property, and I don't find it to be an eyesore. And not only that, I think they should be allowed to do what they want. And I don't know if there's any way to modify the law, but I don't think it should be something that we are in violation for if there is a vehicle, just like the gentleman said, that you're sending your kids to college in 5 years, so you're not currently registering that vehicle. I think that's on my property and I have a right to that. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Jim Dolman, South Maple Street. The farms have an exclusion for tractors, trailers, and trucks. They don't need a registration. They don't need insurance to go a half a mile from the farm. So it's the old bylaw has it stated in it. The new one does not, and I believe it should. And it's actually a state law, not just a town law. That's a state.
You want to offer an amendment?
I amend that we put that back into the new bylaw that the town's trying to pass. It's in the old one. Also, when construction equipment is also in the old one. It's exempt. If you read the old bylaw, they're both exempt.
So this is an agricultural exemption? Is that in the bylaw?
If you read the old bylaw, it's in there.
Hang on 1 second. I would really need to have this in very specific writing. I think, so unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to be able to do this on the fly. I just talked to town council about it, and there's some, it's somewhat simple, but it's a little complicated, and we want to make sure we get it right. So I think maybe perhaps town could consider this for maybe a special or next annual town meeting to add that agricultural exemption to it, unless there's somebody that has a motion to do otherwise.
I gave Rick a copy of the state law at one time. I don't know if you brought it with him.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
I know it's in. Yes, it's actually in here. It does. It is. Yeah, it's in there. We adopted it.
Okay, so first I'd need to have it in writing, but second, I will say that if it is in fact in state law, the Attorney General has to review whatever we do here to this bylaw to make sure that it's consistent with the general laws. So if those exemptions exist in the general laws, the Attorney General will flag that and either strike it down and force us to go back to the drawing board or do something to that effect. Does that make sense to you?
Well, we already adapted it once.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Cook.
All right, we're done.
Oh, I want to add a point. I used to be chairman of the bylaw committee. We adopted the right to farm bylaw, and it's in there. There's an exemption for farm vehicles.
Okay.
And you can check the town bylaws unless you
Okay.
took it out.
All right. What's that?
I'd like to make a motion.
I'm sorry. You've
Can I
already
make a
had two.
motion?
You've already. No, you may not. You've already spoken twice, and that's it. Sorry.
I'm not still allowed to make a motion?
No, you're not.
Okay, thank you.
Procedurally,
Yeah.
is there a way to skip over this and reintroduce it towards the end
Uh,
to give time? If they
Well,
wanna
I
try to
guess
do
what I'd
something?
like to do is just sort of like, is there any further, is there a way, no, there isn't.
Okay.
No, there really isn't. So We have a motion before us to adopt a bylaw to replace Chapter 12 miscellaneous bylaw, Section 1, inoperable or motor vehicles, as printed in Article 29 of the annotated warrant. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please vote. The polls are now closed. The motion fails. It is a tie vote. The motion fails. We are now on to Article number 30. It looks like there may not be a motion for this. Is there a motion for this anywhere? Time to stay silent. Unless, of course, there is a motion. Sounds like there isn't. We are now on to Article number 31. Do I have a motion? Article 31.
Are you on 30 or 31?
31. We've gone by 30. Does somebody want to make a motion for Article 30?
I'm going to make it.
For Article 30?
Oh, you're on 30 or 31?
31.
Okay. That's the one. Okay.
My apologies for making any confusion.
Yes. Okay. All right. I brought this forward as an article, and I'm going to tell the townspeople.
So could you just make the motion, and then we'll second it, and then we'll go on?
Okay. I'm making a motion that we put time clocks in 6 locations in our town for the hourly workers. And anybody that was appointed, but they are, hourly, not salary workers, just hourly workers. 6 locations. That would be the landfill, library, highway, town hall, fire department, and we'd have to do something with the cemetery. So right now, we're looking at 6 locations.
Would you please rename those locations, please?
The landfill.
Hold on. Go slow.
Yeah.
I'm a slow writer. Just want to make sure I get it right. Go ahead.
The highway.
Highway.
Fire department.
Fire.
Town hall.
Town hall.
Police department. And I think that there should be 6 there if you have it.
There's 5. So you said the landfill.
Yeah.
I can't even read my own.
Fire department, highway department, the landfill.
Oh, I'm sorry. Landfill.
Yep.
Highway.
Yep.
Fire.
Library. And
library.
Yeah. That should be 6.
All right. So, your motion is to see if the town will approve placing 6 time clocks at 6 locations. The landfill, the highway department, the fire department, town hall, the police station, and the library for non-salaried employees.
Or elected.
Or
elected. They're not included in this.
One moment. The elected officials was not in the motion or the article that was submitted on the petition. It's only non-salaried town employees.
Right. So elected officials can't clock in anyway, so that's why I didn't put it in there.
Okay, so it's not there. So
right. Exactly.
All right. So let me just make sure I got the motion.
Yeah.
Okay. To see if the town will approve the use of time clocks in 6 locations: the landfill, the highway department, the fire, town hall, police, and the library for all appointed non-salaried town employees. Is that the motion?
That's correct.
Is there a second to the motion? There's a second to the motion. You may speak to your motion.
Okay, so I'm bringing this forward for a couple of reasons. One thing right now, everybody's signing in on a timesheet. One department is not even putting in the times. They're just putting in, he's the supervisor's just putting in, this one worked 3 hours, this one worked 2 hours. Other people, the timesheets, they got the times they come in, but they pretty much fill out their own timesheets. And it's not really accountability. I've talked to Lori about this. We got all these timesheets. People, and a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, I should say some, are clocking in. If they come in late, they're just going to put down their normal time. It's not real accurate, I guess I should say here. So we're trying to get accountability here. I checked with most towns, and we're probably the only one that signs in on paper timesheets. I mean, we're going to get up at the times here. We need to get time clocks. Now, these 6 time clocks are all tied together, and the treasurer, all she's got to do is put in the password, and the whole thing's going to come to her desk. It's going to be in the cloud, and she has to do is put a password in, and everything, all the departments are going to come right to her desk. She'll know who worked what, when, and where, and who it is. She won't have to be chasing for timesheets. So what the price is on this, for the first year, it's $5,300. That's for the 6 clocks, the maintenance, and the software.
So there's no dollar amount with this. So
That's why I'm making the motion to put it in. No?
But you can't.
Okay. So we can approve it, and then
Yeah.
then we can get the clocks after?
Yeah, I guess. We can't put a dollar amount. We can't allocate here because that's
Right,
not
but we can get it approved for a later date.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right, so that's the way that's going to work. The clock company is out of Hamden, Mass., and they will help us out with the IT along with Jake.
Okay, so let's just stick with, adopting the motion
Okay.
for putting the time clocks in these locations.
Okay.
And then you can deal with,
The other part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
these guys will deal with the
Okay. All right, so that's what the motion is, to be
Okay.
more accurate, and it's going to help with the accountability as well.
Okay.
And also to be accurate of who's working and who's not working.
Okay, be careful. Thank you. You all done? Okay. Any further debate on the motion? Let me just make sure we got what the motion is. It's to see if the town will approve the use of 6 time clocks in 6 locations: landfill, highway, fire, town hall, police, and library for all appointed non-salaried town employees. Further discussion?
Yes, pursuant to specifically the time clock in town hall. There are people who work for various boards and committees who do part or most of their work from home. I'm talking about writing minutes, fielding calls, because they don't have a desk at the town hall, so therefore they don't work at town hall. This motion would require them to come to town hall, punch in, and then go home and do their work. I think it's blatantly impractical. Also, personally, I don't see any proof from the person bringing this forward that there are people cheating the town.
Okay, no, we're not going there. Just
Okay, I would have liked more backup information on the reason for this. Is it okay for me to say that?
yeah.
Okay, then I would like more backup information that would justify putting this town to this expense and the necessity of having people come into town hall and punch in. Thank you.
Okay.
Didn't expect to come up. Just point of clarification, it's a transfer station. Do we actually have anybody that works at a landfill?
I do believe there are people there. Can anybody speak to that?
Okay, everybody works at the
Does
transfer
anybody
station.
work at the transfer station? Yes. The answer is yes, there is.
At the transfer station?
At the transfer station.
Okay. The language that the town approved the use of, so that becomes a legal English language ease. Is it a will versus a may? Okay. So by approving, we're mandating, I assume through, okay, so the body is approving it, it would fall to that board to implement such. Okay. We covered the cost issue, who's going to maintain all this. A lot of heads looked my way in the back and like, so at 2 a.m. for a building fire, everybody's going to race up to this, not race, proceed in a timely fashion to the station and wait in line and punch in before they put their gear on and get on the trucks. So, just submitted for consideration.
Okay. Any further debate? Mr. Chafee?
On the same situation, the highway department, wintertime. They're calling the guys in the middle of the night. Some of these guys don't have contracts with the town of Brookfield. They can tell the superintendent, hey, we'll see you at 7 o'clock in the morning, if they're not gonna get paid from the time that they get called to come in. You know, they could be a half an hour to an hour before they can get to work, depending on the weather.
Maureen Leapak, just a small comment. The time clocks of today are electronic, and you can have an app on your phone to clock in and out. Most companies have really moved up with the times. So if you did implement something, probably not a physical clock on a wall. Put it into a digital format, if you did.
Debbie Morgan, Boys Ave. Oh, that's bright. I would like to speak to the time clock situation. I've been a municipal employee for almost 25 years, and we have never clocked in. And these people who are responsible for the part-time employees, have supervisors. If you can't trust the supervisors that you hired to keep track of their time, I'm not following that. And if you can't trust the people that you hire, I mean, there are people looking at this, right? They're not just putting a number down. Elected people don't count. They could work 1 hour and still get that entire appropriation. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I got one more comment to say here.
Last
All
one.
the other towns are doing it, so I guess Brookfield's an odd duck out is what everybody's saying. So all the other towns are doing this, all the highways, fire departments, so I don't see why there is a problem here. You gotta get used to it. It's the way it's gonna, gotta get accountability into our town.
All right, is there any further debate? There is. Mr. Tass.
So if this passes, there's no money attached, it only approves it. So you can't implement, you'll have to come back next year and fund it. Is that correct?
That would be correct by town accountant going like this.
Okay. Hope it doesn't pass.
What happens with the fire department when you've got firefighters that go right to the scene and don't go to the station? A lot of people will carry their equipment with them and meet them at the scene, especially the officers. So you don't get paid anything if you go to the scene? It just, to have people line up to do a clock, it doesn't make any sense for the fire department at least.
Okay. Any further debate? All right. The motion before us is to see if the town will approve the use of time clocks in 6 locations: landfill, the highway department, the fire department, the town hall, the police department, and the library, for all appointed non-salaried town employees. Is there any further debate? Please get your clickers out. The polls are now open. Please vote. If you have not already voted, please do so. I am about to close the polls. The polls are now closed. The motion is not adopted. 17 in favor, 56 opposed. Article 32, is a citizen petition. Unfortunately, it is not consistent with Mass General laws when it comes to acceptance of public ways, and so it's not in order before this town meeting this evening. That being the last article on the warrant, there being no further business before us, I am declaring this town meeting adjourned. Thank you very much for your attention. Well, 10 o'clock, it's not bad. I thought it was going to be a lot worse.